Yeah. They have like some hot dogs and sausage and stuff there.
Well,
yeah, they have
I'm just gonna say the
My
thing.
friend Aaron makes amazing pasta. So
The thing to
it's
do.
easy, it's messy and it takes a long time.
From now on, I'm not gonna do that.
Is it working?
Well, I just had to start a different stream.
Okay.
It's either that or just like sit and stare at nothing happening.
Right. So this is us.
This is us.
This is us,
we
so
are
will
live.
those
three people will be able to find us. Three people.
Well, while we're talking, I will send a message out on the other channel saying, "Really sorry, don't know what's going on. Come join us on the live stream."
Send the message on the
because absolutely not. Yeah, it's still just that photo of Dreamscape. Like, anyway,
Well, if they're looking at that photo, can they hear us, or they're just dead?
there's nothing. It's just. It was the image that I put in place to go, hey, wow, this thing's going to happen at 9 o'clock,
right?
According to YouTube.
Right.
And then 9 o'clock happened and nothing. I guess there's some incredibly obvious thing that I'm not doing.
Everything's bullshit.
Let me just send a quick apology.
To your mom.
My apologies to anyone watching on this channel.
So where are you sending that to?
No, I'm just in the live chat. For some
I see.
reason, we can't get the stream.
It still looks a lot bigger in this
Working.
image on the computer than it actually is. Like we look tiny compared to our giant library. It looks like we need a ladder to get to the top of shelves.
Please.
We do. I do. These are
You're the tallest guy here. I don't want you on a ladder here. I know what happens with you on ladders.
Ladder, splatter.
Yeah. That should be your autobiography.
New live streams.
It's a back tattoo.
Yeah, your back tattoo is a ladder splatter.
Ladder splatter.
Because you going woo up a ladder.
Okay. Hey, Abram. Hold on a second. Somebody just wrote in.
Hey, where are you guys?
The fuck?
Can you? Oh, there it is.
So for the next 40 minutes, I'll just be answering text.
It's live streams. See, when I need to remember a word, it's on the live streams. Yeah, so he's. And what I will do as well. I don't see us though. That's the thing. Bear with us, folks. We're almost there. Black Dog Video Podcast Live, Dreamscape, 1984. There we are.
I got to work tomorrow.
And hey, shut up. You're not doing anything.
I know.
Hold on a second. I'm just going to
Talk back, mic check. 1, 2, 2.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm hooked in.
Are we recording or what?
Is that why it's not working?
Well, if you guys had headphones, I could talk to you.
Right. I'll have headphones for the next one.
Yeah. Riff track.
Yeah.
In fact, the Wi-Fi's.
Dylan and I both dropped the ball in the head.
Okay, sorry. This is the first time we've tried this. So.
Are we good to go?
Yeah, we're good to go. Adam Abrams is our one viewer.
Oh, I know.
And
he's a nice fella.
And many apologies to the rest of you folks. Anybody? We're still trying to sort this shit out. Yes. So I left a message on the live stream board saying, for whatever reason, this live stream is not live streaming. Come on over to the one that I just created.
Right.
And we have at least one. Adam. Hello, Adam. Thank you for watching.
Thanks.
This is Black Dog Video. It is After Dark. That makes this the Black Dog Video After Dark podcast, a.k.a. Black Dog After Dark.
Black Dog AD.
We're never using that. Anyway, this is the one and only video, I guess, nostalgia movie podcast that is actually recorded in an actual video store. So this is like a blast from the past. It's like you're watching us talk about movies from 20 years ago, actually 20 years ago.
Longer longer than that.
Yeah, to anyone listening to the podcast at home or on your personal devices, we are now doing this thing on YouTube. Come on over to our YouTube channel, Black Dog Video Empire.
You can see all our handsome
You can
faces
see
live.
our handsome toques
Yeah.
and our handsome glasses. Well,
right.
your guys' handsome glasses.
All right.
Speaking of handsome, my name is Dylan Reimer. I am a local comedian and employee of Black Dog Video and one of your co-hosts. And as always, sitting to my left is...
I'm Alex Chisholm. I work at Black Dog Video. I have for a long time. I'm also a programmer at the Rio Theater just down the street.
Who are you?
I'm Darren Gay. I own this chilly establishment tonight. It's a little chilly in here.
It's a little chilly.
But
But I'm still wearing one of our T-shirts that we sell here without a sweater.
I know. Well, you've been working hard to get this thing up and running.
I'm showing this off. I'm showing off our I'm shaking our moneymaker.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you put your shirt on because I had to request that.
The full body tattoo.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it
Just
is.
like in Red Dragon. Do
Yeah.
you see? Do
Yeah.
you see? And tonight we are talking about a sci-fi, sort of forgotten sci-fi, not quite classic from 1984.
It might be a classic. I don't know.
Well, that's what we're determining tonight. Does it hold up? Is it a classic? Is it even worth watching? The movie is Dreamscape from 1984, starring Dennis Quaid, Kate Capshaw, Christopher Plummer,
Max
von Sydow, yes,
Yeah.
or Sydow, however you want to
Eddie
say it.
Albert,
George Wendt.
George Wendt. Yeah, it's got a great
Um,
cast.
It's got a pretty great cast. I told you, remember, because the other day you were like, you couldn't remember anything about this movie.
No.
And I was like, well, because the first thing I wrote, like right off the bat, was holy shit, what a cast.
Yeah. Well, the only thing I remembered about this movie was the snake fella, and that's it.
Yeah, I remember the snake fella, and anyway, so was it my pick?
You suggested this. So
I
I'm gonna say it's
suggested
your
this, so I
pick.
guess I should talk about first encounters with the movie Dreamscape.
Ooh.
I remember going to see Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom at the Willowbrook 6 Theater in out there in Langley.
Kate Capshaw.
And well, that's the thing. And I noticed coming out of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, there was a poster that looked almost exactly like the poster for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
But the Temple of Doom came after this.
Yes, but I want at some point to address Dennis Quaid and Harrison Ford are very similar. Like Dennis Quaid is a little bit of a poor man's Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
And in some ways, I think he's a better actor. But he looks a lot like him. He has the same kind of roguish charm.
Right.
And Temple of Doom, I imagine, was probably a pretty big hit. And so, like, the poster for Dreamscape is Dennis Quaid looking like Indiana Jones, stepping through a doorway, holding a torch with a woman and a kid.
Yeah.
And that is exactly what Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom's poster is.
So, but Temple of Doom came after, though. So did Temple of Doom copy?
No, I don't believe it did. Or it's the same year. I know that much.
Well, because I was watching a little bit of the actual interview with Dennis Quaid, and he was saying how much he enjoyed working with Kate Capshaw, and he mentioned it was before she had met Steven Spielberg.
Oh.
Yeah, because they said Spielberg and Kate Capshaw hooked up after.
I know they hooked up.
And I think they're still together.
They're still together.
Nice.
Well, I could be mistaken.
There could be a long gap, though, between the actual production and release, too.
That's true.
But I definitely remember seeing the poster for Dreamscape at Willowbrook 6 Theater.
This was shot in 1983 and released in 1984.
Yeah,
so
and Temple of Doom was 84 as well. So
was it?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Anyway, whatever. I could have it confused. I was quite young. My mother would not let me go see the movie Dreamscape, so I had to wait for it on video.
Why?
She thought it was too scary or whatever. But it's strange that I could go see Temple of Doom.
Your mom sounds like a drag.
No, only occasionally. Like she wouldn't let me watch The Terminator, which is a perfectly reasonable mom
First one or the second
decision
one?
to make. The first one.
First one. She would let you watch
I had to
behind
wait.
the green door.
I had to wait until home video to watch Dreamscape, and I did watch it, and I had issues with it. And then I didn't watch it again until a few days ago.
What kind of 9-year-old has issues with a movie?
Well, I wasn't 9. I was like 11 or 12 when
Sorry,
I saw it.
I was way off.
I also remember watching the Siskel and Ebert episode where they're talking about Dreamscape, and it looked like a really scary movie. That's probably why my mom wouldn't let me see it, was because of that Siskel and Ebert review. And yeah, I had issues with it as a kid, and I have similar issues as a 45-year-old man. How about you, Alex? When did you first see Dreamscape?
I first saw Dreamscape 2 days ago when I watched it for this podcast.
So you don't have a lot of memories
never seen
about
it.
No, and when you first announced, when you guys had decided this, you were like, we're going to watch Dreamscape. I was like, fine, but I was like, I had no recollection of the film. It wasn't until I looked at the Blu-ray Well, I just mean I don't even remember like being in like it was. There's plenty of movies I'm aware of that I haven't seen, but this was one where I was like, I don't remember that at all. But once I looked at the DVD and stuff, it all kind of came back. I remember like newspaper ads when I was a kid for it. So this was my first time watching it ever. Was just 2 days ago.
Oh, okay. And Big D.
I watched it a lot actually in the 80s. For some reason, I was mildly obsessed with this movie. I don't know if it was because it had this cool stop motion animation in it, or maybe I was attracted to Cape Capshaw.
Cape Capshaw. These lobsters are from Cape Capshaw.
But I think also because I had a lot of the stuff set in the dream world, and I was pretty into marijuana at the time, being a 19-year-old of this, I think in '84. And I think I just liked that aspect of it. And I watched it a number of times. Funny thing is, watching it again, I didn't remember anything about it except for the snake fella. And that was it. But things came back as I was watching it.
Snake fella? Like he's doffing his cap. Good morning to you, Mr. Snake fella.
Exactly.
And that seems to be your situation a lot, because I'll be like, how was that concert? How was that party you went to? You go, I don't remember anything about a snake fella. Like, you're always telling me about events you're going to.
It's because the snake fella is always there.
After the fact, you're like, you don't remember anything about the snake fella.
Yeah, well,
How was your shift? Oh, I rented the snake fella.
It was a traumatic childhood thing that stuck with me. I liked it a lot actually when I was younger, and when I saw that it was available on the Blu-ray, I said, "Yeah, let's score this up and let's watch this."
Let's do it. Yeah. So the movie starts out, as we said, just the opening credits is like great, like two world-class actors.
Yeah,
one very fun actor.
I didn't know Max von Sydow was in it. It was just hilarious. The always perpetually old-looking Max von Sydow.
Yeah, has that guy ever been young?
No.
Like The Exorcist, he looked like he was about 70.
He looked ancient in The Seventh Seal, which is before The Exorcist.
Yeah, he was like in his 20s, I think, in The Seventh Seal.
Was he playing Death in The Seventh Seal? And he was a bit young for Death.
Yes.
Or maybe
he wasn't playing Death.
No, he wasn't. But in The Exorcist, they put a lot of makeup on to make him look old. But he wasn't that old then. I don't know how old he was then, but yeah. He just died recently, didn't he? Just like last year.
I think so. And Max von Sydow has the biggest head. Did you notice how much larger? It's almost like a Tweety Bird situation.
Most actors have enormous heads.
He could have played the Elephant Man with minimal makeup.
Yes, maybe.
His best turn is still straight for.
These are things I say about it. It's true.
Yeah,
and he looked ancient in that.
And I read where apparently the makers of the film joked around, not just like Bob and Doug, Dave Thomas, and Rick Moranis, but the writer, the director, and stuff all joked around that, oh yeah, this would be a funny part for Max von Sydow, and they sent it to him almost as a lark. Apparently, he was going to turn it down, but his son watched SCTV, loved it, was like, Dad, please do it. These guys are hilarious.
That's awesome.
I also read that about Leonard Cohen. He ended up on an episode of Miami Vice, if you can believe it.
Really?
He was ready to snub it, and his son, who was a teenager at the time, loved Miami Vice. He's like, please,
wasn't the same son as Max von Sydow's son. Was the same kid.
They had a kid together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Leonard Cohen and Max von Sydow.
The Crockett's of Mercy.
I don't know what that is.
Never mind. I was just trying to make a dumb joke.
Yeah.
About a Leonard Cohen song.
With Crockett or Tubbs.
Yeah. The Crockett's of Mercy.
Right.
Death of a Ladies' Man.
So the movie starts out. It's a dream sequence, I think, and it's like it's a nuke.
Yeah, there's a woman. That woman is running down the street, and as a bomb goes off, and New York is behind her. You can see the Twin Towers, and it just obliterates everything.
And it's like this, and it's the traditional 1980s Johnny Nuco proper mushroom cloud.
Oh, of course.
If those of you who don't know Johnny Nuco,
I just made that up.
Oh, Google Johnny Nuco. I think he's a Vancouver painter who, in the early '90s, used to like paint various cities being nuked.
Awesome. And
he sold postcards. I was obsessed with the guy.
Oh, yeah.
But I was also obsessed with nuclear Armageddon and stuff, being a Cold War kid.
Of course.
So, and this movie probably did a little bit to kind of mess me up.
Well, so much so. Didn't you start a boy band called the Cold War Kids?
Cold War Kids.
That's a different band, and it's a good band, and they're not actually during the Cold War. They're contemporary.
That's a real band.
Yeah.
The Cold War Kids.
Yeah, the Cold War Kids.
Oh, I had no idea. I just heard them say that.
Some of the vote a few years ago.
I was just totally joking. I never heard of that band.
Yeah.
I thought that's a catchy name for a band. I suggested I made a lame joke about him.
There you go.
But I grew
not
up
trying to reference it.
I like many Generation X, children of Generation X, or rather, children of Generation X. grew up having seen like Threads or The Day After or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's like
nuke,
like nuke images were everywhere.
Well,
and when I was a kid, I actually painted. I got sent to a shrink
Oh,
because I painted like this really horrific like nuclear.
well,
It was like a big red mushroom cloud and people turning into skeletons and
you
stuff.
put that on the side of your house.
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah, painted on the side of my teacher's car.
Awesome.
But no, I got sent to a shrink over this painting. Just to make sure that I wasn't like some deranged lunatic.
Right.
And it's like no, it's just it might have had something to do with Dreamscape actually, because the painting I did was very similar to that image of the woman running away from the nuclear.
Right. You still have that painting? I like to see it.
No, never. I won't even get into the fact that my mother threw away all of my artwork.
As I said, your mom's a drag.
No, she's a minimalist. She gave me life, and I'm very thankful.
Yeah.
Thank
but
you,
but
Mom.
it
Who
ends
needs
there.
anything else?
So she's running. The woman, not my mother, the woman in the movie is running away, and then there's this nuclear Armageddon, and then whoa, wake up from a horrible nightmare.
And there's Green Acres waking up from a horrible nightmare.
That's it. I totally expected him to roll over and see Eva Gabor lying next to him. Honey,
Oh,
and the
darling.
pig, their pig, yeah.
I've never seen Green Acres.
Really?
Yeah.
I watched it a lot as a kid. It was on
Yeah,
after
me
school
as
when I was
well.
in elementary.
It was terrible.
I've also never seen The Incredible Hulk,
Terrible.
and I would have never seen Charlie's Angels were it not for Mr. Alex Chisholm inviting me over to watch an amazing episode. But we're not here to talk about Charlie's Angels.
Or
So
Or
it
Green
turns
Acres.
out that
Or the Incredible
the
Hulk.
horrible nightmare was in the head of the president of the United States.
Donald Trump.
Even though they don't really.
Well, it wasn't alluded to then. He just woke up and then I guess like a guy in a suit opened the door, which I thought, like, are you okay, sir? Which is weird.
I thought it was like his gay lover.
Or his son, he's just waiting outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Who
so
knows?
it's like that music video "Land of Confusion" by Genesis,
Yes.
where Reagan wakes up from the horrible nightmare. Anyway,
They use spinning image.
spinning image. Yeah.
The funny thing of doing a little watching extras today, Eddie Albert was actually good friends with Ronald Reagan, who was president at the time.
And
Oh.
so did he get like advice from him? How should
Well,
I play
I don't know,
a
maybe.
sweaty, scared president?
Possibly because he apparently during the shoot every 2 weeks he'd jet off to the White House and pal around with Reagan and then come
Really?
back and shoot more movies.
And
Yeah.
come
Tell
back
me
and
more
make-
about nuclear anxiety.
That's why Dreamscape is another level of believability
Yeah.
and authenticity.
Because Eddie Albert was indeed a method actor shadowing the actual president.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
He's being sarcastic.
So the movie starts with a cliche. That's not a good sign.
Well, not really.
It starts with the horrible nightmare, waking up from the horrible nightmare cliche.
Question.
Yeah.
We've all had nightmares.
Yes.
Have you ever sat up screaming or just even sat up in bed from a nightmare?
Never. I've had strong reactions.
No, you
but
just
never
you
like
wake
that.
up and maybe go, ooh.
Yeah.
I dreamt I was
Awake, but
I was falling once and I kicked the wall and woke up.
I sometimes get a dream that I get like stung by a bee or something. I wake up and it feels like I got stung, like someone got stabbed with a needle or
And
something.
you realize it's just me nibbling on your ankle.
Again?
Yeah.
Get out of my room, Alex.
I was telling you about this dream. Maybe it's because of this movie. I've been having weird dreams all week. One of which was I went on a date with Jeff Goldblum.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Did
It's
you put
hard to
out-
explain
I
to my
don't
girlfriend.
consider that a weird dream though. That's like something. It's an aspiration.
That's a waking dream.
I was very focused on Jeff Goldblum's fingers in this dream. I don't know if I wanted him to enter me with his fingers,
Yeah.
or it's because I actually saw like footage of him playing piano and stuff.
Were they caressing your balls or something like that?
You know what it was? It's because I watched this movie, The Switch Up. Never mind.
Never heard of it.
It's a romantic comedy.
Goldblum's in it?
It's a romantic comedy, and Jeff Goldblum's the best thing in it.
It's called
Anyway,
The
so
Switch Up?
Jeff Goldblum would have been great in Dreamscape.
Yeah, well, he's great in everything.
So the president wakes up. I've never woken up screaming.
No, or even sit up. Like just sit up in a fury or like just going crazy or whatever. I've never ever. I don't know anybody who's ever done that. Only happens in the movies.
And I've had some pretty demented dreams.
I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum's fingers.
Yeah. I dreamed I died. Well, this is the thing with this movie. Is part of the plot involves this old wives' tale that if you die in your sleep, then your body dies in real life.
Which this movie betrays as soon as it starts.
Why? Because he gets nuked and then.
No. Well, after when we'll get to it when we get to it.
Right.
When he does gets to the dreamscape.
Because I have died in my dreams. I got shot in the head by a sniper.
We've all died.
Oh,
And,
I did too one time. I
and-
died. I'm not gonna lie. I saw myself get sprayed with a flamethrower. I'm in a tree. I get sprayed by a flamethrower and I fall out of the tree, land on the ground. I'm not joking. And then I fly out of my body, sort of like out of body experience though, and I watched as pit bulls eat my body.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it was a dream. I had this in high school. I told Prince it was the setting was the local mall that we all spent way too much time at. The parking lot was replaced by fields, and I was being chased with all these other people, including a dude with a flame.
That's one of the most demented dreams I've ever.
It's totally demented. It was when pit bulls were all the rage in the tabloids. For like this deadly new breed of dog.
Yeah.
Too bad
the
the pit bulls were breathing fire on you and then attacked you. That would have been awesome.
That would have been great.
I
want my money back actually because I requested that.
I grew up in Surrey, and we had a lot of punks back in the '80s, and I was scared of them, the Surrey Peacocks. And I remember walking down the street and seeing this punk guy walking up, and he was wearing a T-shirt that was the drawing of just a pit bull, and then it just said "Pit bulls with AIDS," as being like it was like the 1980s worst nightmare.
Yeah, I don't think dogs can get AIDS, but yeah, I understand.
That's a punk band
Cats
too.
can. Is that what was it? Was that what it was?
No,
because I've had this image of pit bulls with AIDS in my head my entire life as one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Pit bulls with AIDS giving birth to crack babies.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's horrible.
And Geraldo Rivera.
And pushing nuke buttons.
Well, the thing is, if the pit bulls had AIDS, they just get sick and waste away and die.
No, they bite you and give you their dog AIDS. Yeah. Anyway.
Dog AIDS. That's like a meds for dogs.
Well, cats get. Okay, we're not going to get into this.
Isn't that a concept?
So stay on topic.
All right.
That was my fault.
Okay. So, anyways,
by the way, that's why I do want to just acknowledge that that's one of the most demented dreams I've ever heard. Watching your own body.
I think we should. We should just stop the podcast right now and go home and just think about what
eat some cheese and go to bed. Eat some chili right out of the can and go to sleep.
Dude, next podcast we'll review my dreams.
The Dreamcast. So, right. So
I think then we're introduced to Dennis Quaid's character. He's at the track.
Yes.
And he's for some reason he can predict the winner. Like I know he can.
He's psychic.
But he can move things with his mind. How does that make you? Predict them.
Telekinesis.
Don't we see is Max von Sydow first talking about him? It's like, oh, I once had this incredible student.
Maybe.
And he was like, it's like telekinesis, and those are just one of his many talents.
Right. He was like moving a ball around.
And it's like, well, what you never see is many talents.
No.
Apparently, like leading a normal life is not one of his many talents.
I guess maybe picking a horse. You think if he had the ability to pick the winner of a horse race, he'd have the ability to pick the winning lottery numbers, or something like that. So just win it once. Just win it once.
Maybe,
I agree.
But maybe it's just horse related.
He's tuned to the horses. That's the only way.
He only has equine powers.
Right.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
But in the movies, a shady character is always down at the track.
Yeah.
Like the track is where shady people go.
Well, he meets some shady characters because he's collecting his winnings, and then some shady characters try to accost him and take it, and he runs away from them. And there's a little bit of a foot chase. And
you see his program. Is that what they call it when you go to the ponies?
Sure.
It's like a program.
And he has the winner's circle.
He has the winner's circle, right? just to remind himself
in a big red.
But the other names are.
Oh, I didn't see the other names.
I went back and I paused
that.
This is the great thing with Blu-ray. So I paused it just because it is so clearly a writer who never went back and changed that shit. And the names of the horses were the horse that won was called High Compression. No, Completely Fine. That was the name. Completely Fine one. The other horses were High Compression, Admiral's Runner, Cover the Bet, Crazy Lou, Chinese Noodle, and Heavy Rain. These are not even in the whatever happened to Secretariat?
I like Heavy Rain.
Heavy Rain.
Chinese noodles I like.
Cover the Bet.
That was lame.
High Compression. Who names a horse High Compression?
What does it mean?
I don't even know.
Maybe there's a balloon animal horse.
So he's being followed by thugs who are bad at following, is the note that I made.
They're not very good at all.
Because they're so obviously following him.
Yeah.
And he tricks them with the bag and throws it out the window. He throws it out the window
and then he takes off.
He
tries to hide in the women's washroom, which doesn't work out because women start screaming and they know he's in there. And they threaten him, saying, you got to give me this and that. But then he throws the bag out the window, escapes, and jumps in a cab and mocks them as he drives
Is this
away.
what happens when you just win at the track a lot? Thugs come and demand money?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I've been to the track a few times, never won anything. But
why does Dennis Quaid keep going back to this track where thugs want to beat him?
Because he's the cocky, smirky Quaid. He's not the bearded, insane Quaid. that's traversing the Twitters now. His
Oh
brother.
no!
Yeah.
Please don't tell me
He
Dennis
can
Quaid.
predict they're
No,
going to
no, his
catch him
brother,
there.
his Randy Quaid.
Oh,
Randy
thank
Quaid's
God.
He can
the
predict.
nuts, crazy motherfucker.
He can predict that they're going to be there, and he knows all the escape routes. So
Sure, but can't he just go when he knows they're not going to be there?
I too.
I don't know. Who knows? Who knows the way of the force?
I guess
know?
there's only so many horse racing options around town.
Especially in Los Angeles. I can't imagine there's more than one track
This thing
in
puts
California.
Right, yes.
Well, you know what I mean, though. Seriously, it's like,
Anyway, so whatever. So he
it's a snack
he
bar.
goes home and he gets away from them. Oh, he by jumping into a cab,
Yeah, so
and then he's all like, "Hey, fuck you!"
Yeah, then he goes home and plays the saxophone for some reason, which I was like, oh man, please tell me there's not gonna be saxophone.
You know what that
in this
is?
movie.
That is someone's got a case of the don't have a character. They did it with we'll give him a saxophone.
Yeah, so that's
it's like
so-
Rob Lowe
so
and
he has
St.
a
Elmo's Fire.
sure.
Yeah, I guess so. Or that sweaty guy.
You know what they said?
From the Lost Boys.
I heard a really interesting thing. You know what they said in the scene where they directed Rob Lowe to play saxophone?
Be like Kevin
Is
Spacey.
this a
No.
joke coming up?
Okay.
No, it's not. No, they said Rob Lowe.
Okay, Dad.
That was a joke.
Hand him a sax and said Rob Lowe.
What was the '80s obsession with saxophone?
I don't know, man.
Like it's not a pleasant sounding instrument.
That
not-
punk
it's not-
band
Huey
Fear.
Lewis kind of drove that shit into the ground.
It's true. Punk band Fear had that song New York's
I think
Okay.
it
if you
only
like
works-
saxophone. It was a New York
It
song.
only works for me in like older Bruce Springsteen stuff. But even then, it's like it's still cloying. It's like I don't know.
I like the Pink Panther theme.
But how often do you listen to that?
Every time I watch the Pink Panther,
How often you watch the Pink Panther?
once or twice a week.
Really?
No.
Really?
That's
Anyway,
saxophone.
but it's one of these things where it's like, oh, this guy doesn't have any personality, so let's have him play saxophone. They did the same thing with Nicolas Cage in that movie, The Rock.
That movie, The Rock.
You know well, I don't want to say The Rock because everyone thinks of The Rock.
Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah. So in the movie The Rock,
So when Nicolas Cage was inside Dwayne
when
Johnson,
he was sodomizing Dwayne
from the
Dwayne
inside.
Johnson, or just crawling inside of him.
Yeah. he's a big
Anyway, so
man.
but they make a point
Lots
of
of
him
room.
being a Beatles fan at the beginning of The Rock. He's like,
Right.
I'm a Beatles fan. I'm a Beatlemaniac.
Well,
And then it never comes up again in that movie. It's just like, oh, I'm supposed to like this guy, so they chose the most popular band. And with Dennis Quaid, it's like, this
Well-
guy really doesn't have any character traits, so we'll just make him a saxophone.
It also happens in The Conversation, which is a masterpiece, the Francis Ford Coppola film.
when Gene Hackman pulled the saxophone.
He plays the saxophone.
Really? Well, this was at least in the '70s, but it wasn't as. I don't know. I don't like the sax. But I'm hoping it wasn't going to be like it was going to a reoccurring thing, like in not shorting. No, what's his name? When things show a gun in the first act.
Oh, yeah.
What's the guy's name?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Raskolnikov or
Yeah,
Chekhov?
No, is it Chekhov?
I think it's Chekhov.
Novotny,
No,
the name in
that's the
Dreamscape,
Novotny is Max von
which
Sydow.
is also the name of the
Sputnik.
teacher, one of the teachers.
Boris, Natasha.
Now, what's that called?
If you show a gun, Cord had a sax joke. It's like someone's playing saxophone and Bull is like, that's some bad sax. And Harry goes, well, you know what they say, bad sax is better than no sax at all.
I got at least Greg.
Greg thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Like 30 years
He
after
wrote the
the
joke.
broadcast. Too bad
He sent
Harry
it in as a
Anderson is
submission.
smiling in heaven because of Greg.
Is he dead?
He is.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he is. Yeah,
He died.
he choked on his magic tricks.
Oh.
Never mind. I like Harry Anderson.
Anyways,
I
let's
don't
go back
know-
to this movie.
So he leaves his apartment, and okay, it's filmed in L.A., but this scene totally reminded me of a scene in Inner Space, which
Is it
also
LA?
stars Dennis Quaid.
Which I liked as well. There's like those two movies. That'd be a good double bill.
Inner Space is I really
Long
love
and
it.
short too.
It's so much fun, Inner Space.
Yeah.
There goes my pairing. You blew it.
And
Have to come up with a new one.
hey, Greg, who and Robert Picardo is also in Inner Space. He played the Doctor on Star Trek Voyager.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
It would be mind blowing if he had played Picard.
well, it's weird because he plays a Russian cowboy,
Yeah.
but he's Robert Picardo.
The Russians are always in a hurry.
Russian Attack. There was a video game called Russian Attack. Okay, so anyway, he leaves his apartment and it looks exactly like the scene in Inner Space when he chases Meg Ryan out into the street.
Yeah.
So I was just like, are they using the same locations and everything? Because Inner Space is like 86, 86.
I didn't know where this movie was. Was it set in LA? I didn't know it was set in LA.
It was definitely LA. I mean, it sure looked like LA. But you
Anyways.
never know movies that are set in LA. With the Omega Man, you were totally confused by
I
that
thought it
too.
was New York.
You thought it was New York.
Yeah.
That flat, hot city, New
New York
York,
can be flat.
right next to the Pacific Ocean.
It's
anyway,
right after the Atlantic Ocean.
And the bad dudes are coming to his house, so they must have his address.
Why did he just go there in the first
Why
place?
does he ever go home? Why does he ever go to the track? Why doesn't he just fucking take his psychic powers and move somewhere else? Anyway, so so these G-men pick him up, and he jumps in the car so he can get away from the bad dudes.
Both those guys are recognizable. I've seen one guy was on Twin Peaks, and then the other guy I've seen in countless things. Everybody in this movie that shows up, we've seen somewhere else. Almost everybody, even the henchman from the racetrack, I've seen somewhere else. Because movie that's from 1984.
And the henchman, he had like a little flat cap.
Yeah, I like the henchman.
Like he looked kind of like Russ Tamblyn or something. Like he was going to start tap dancing at some point. He was like an Irish bad guy.
Is Russ Tamblyn known for his tap dancing?
Well, he was in Babes in Toyland.
Oh,
anyway,
like Twin Peaks as well.
Well, that's right. So the G-men take him to a university lab. You'd think it would be, given what happens in this movie, it would be a more secluded, but no, it's just the college.
Yeah, well, they're not really doing anything that's, no one even know about. They're studying people's dreams.
Do you know what's happening in your local college lab? I think not. Anything could be going on in there.
Smoking pot.
That too.
A lot of sex, giggling, pillow fights.
That too.
Pillow fights, tickle fights.
A litter of puppies inside your local college.
Is it anything
lab.
like Animal House? Did they put Jello down women's tops? And never mind. My 80s movies have been lying to me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So anyway, and then I guess this is where the movie sort of starts.
Yeah, they go to the Dream Factory, and that's where they meet. Max von Sydow is still there. They knew each other from way back in the day.
Yes.
And then
and that's never really explained.
It doesn't really matter.
And
he used to be a student of a subject of Max von Sydow's, and he disappeared for a while.
And he's he's very high telekinetic.
Yeah, and so they want him to do these dream experiments where get into people's dreams and fuck around with them in the dreams and help them out, basically. That's why Max von Sydow is a good guy in this movie.
Yeah, for once.
Yeah. But Plummer, who's rarely a good guy. Actually, it's funny. I was watching the interview with Quaid in the special features, talking about all the actors, and he said, "Yeah, Christopher Plummer, he's kind of like that guy. He's always serious, He's just constantly intense and just doing what he does. But he said he's just like his character.
Yeah,
without all the murdering and stuff.
No, yeah. Does he actually? Yeah, he does. He's clearly the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so they try and talk Dennis Quaid into.
Well, they want him to participate into the experiments to
go into people's dreams.
Yeah. He has a funny line when he comes in and he looks at the things. Yes, if Darth Vader was his interior decorator.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny. Then I was kind of thinking, what would Darth Vader's what would his places look like if he was an interior decorator?
If you spent. Oh, if he was.
Yeah, that was his job instead of being.
I was going to say
a lot of the people where he was doing the decorating, they'd all be sizzled and burnt up.
That's right, because he gets mad. He crushes them.
Yeah.
Crushed windpipes.
Yeah, so there'd be a lot of bodies strewn about.
Yeah,
a lot of blacks, a lot of
bathroom break for old Alex.
Not that old.
He would have the paintings would all be straight because he's got the force.
Right. Yeah.
Don't trip
true.
over any of that stuff.
I am watching so carefully.
It's very expensive equipment that you. Okay.
Are you taking a shower?
It's like $75 worth of equipment.
Burn.
I was gonna say, Darren, that
Yes.
if you read the extended universe, you'd know exactly what Darth Vader's place looks like. But
does he actually have a place?
He
lives in that clam that opens up.
No. That's just like his condo. It's like his vacation clam.
Right.
He lives on a fire planet.
I wish I had a vacation.
In the top of a big tower next to a. He lives on the planet where he was horribly mutilated.
He lives there?
Yes. I have no idea. I think it's just so he can stay even more evil.
Well, wouldn't it be really hot all the time, especially in that gear? That
Well, he's got a temperature controlled suit.
Oh, so it's air conditioned.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes. when he needs
You
it.
know, and so like I would not want to live across the street from the place where I was horribly mutilated.
No, not at all.
But Darth Vader sees some kind of value in it.
Where your best friend left you laying on the ground while your limbs all burnt off.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna be brought some bad.
And also, the
memories.
Emperor is a dick. So
Emperor is
okay,
a
we
dick.
won't get into it, but the Emperor kind of fucks with Darth Vader all the time.
That's your next comedy special,
Just
isn't
'cause
it?
he's a
The
jerk.
Emperor is a dick.
The Emperor has no dick.
Well, the Emperor is a dick. The Emperor's new dick.
So yeah, so for whatever reason, they're like, please come and work for us at this like Dream Lab, Dennis Quaid, and then of course, and he's just kind of like, no, I don't think so.
Well, then they asked him, where do you spend the night for some reason in a really small bed in an uncomfortable room.
With
Like,
your
why,
saxophone.
why would you just go? I guess you can't really go home because the henchmen are after you.
Well, and also they threatened to audit him.
Yeah. But when did he bring his sax with him? Because he starts.
I think he probably sent people to his house to pick his stuff up.
Whatever you get, whatever you do, make sure you bring my.
Make sure you get my saxophone.
Yeah, I don't care about anything else.
The other people on this floor are gonna love me.
You see, and I felt it
I can
was.
sense it in the telekinesis.
So this is the scene that kind of disturbed me because I just felt it was completely gratuitous sex.
You're gonna milk that joke the rest of the night. The sax jokes, aren't you?
It's very sexual.
Anyway,
so I can't help but think that with this movie, a whole lot of nothing happens.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of nothing happens. So Dennis Quaid and Max von Sydow go to the bar where they drink some beer, they oogle the waitress, and they talk about this and that, and then they go back to the
and
Dreamscape.
he fully
room.
sexually he like
But he also know this is when he notices that Norm from Cheers is watching him.
yeah.
And it's like Norm looks exactly the same. He's
in a bar.
He's in a bar.
Like
he's
2
wearing
or
the
3
same clothes.
scenes, he's in a bar.
Yeah.
And he's wearing the same jacket.
Yeah.
It's like he just came off the set of Cheers.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're fine like that.
Yeah, you're great.
Little known sax, Norm.
Huh? Little known sax? Oh, Jesus. That wasn't Norm.
Jeez.
Hey there,
How did you come up with that one?
Hey there, Nami.
I wrote it for him.
So, anyway, so whatever. So he goes to the bar and then he talks to someone and then he notices people looking at him.
Yeah.
And it goes on like this for like 20 minutes.
And then Norm runs
and
away.
Nothing happens.
I guess Norm is he's a writer and he's researching a book on dreamscapes or whatever.
Yeah.
But the bad guys, the guys that the CIA are afraid of, which is mentioned later, are onto him.
Yeah.
So he takes off.
And somehow Norm knows about it.
Yeah. Well, he's a writer.
Because writers know everything.
They know everything. Yeah. And so he goes back to the dreamscape lot. It's funny because they walk by on the way out, and there's a security guy sitting there, and Quaid says some quip to him. I can't remember what it was, but he's like wondering why they have a security guy there. But then every time he goes back, the security guy's gone to the bathroom or whatever. He's got to get a sandwich, or he's watching a movie. Like he's never there.
Is he ever? Yeah.
He's there the one time, and then he's never there because it's to prep. I guess it's because it's the actual lab where Darth Vader's designed the Dreamscape.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we're missing something here.
No, I don't think we are.
Bad guy.
Well,
Briggs.
he's met Kate Capshaw at this point.
But okay, he's met Kate Capshaw and totally sexually harassed her. But that was pretty common for roguish.
Did he sexually harass her?
Everything he says is like, I want to go down on you or whatever.
I don't think he quite said that.
He may as well have.
I like your can.
He's like, why don't we have sex? And I like your hard nipples, or whatever. This is while they're doing that Ghostbusters test where it's like, tell me the color of the fucking card.
Oh,
or whatever.
right.
And it's like not particularly good dialogue. It's
No.
not.
She's got a wild perm, by the way, 80s perm.
Oh yeah.
This movie's so dated in its visual look. It's so
and the music
and
as
the
well.
music
The
is
music,
insane.
which I love.
Insanely
The thing is,
dated.
when I watch 80s movies, I watch 80s movies for this.
Oh,
For
absolutely.
the music
yeah.
and for the outfits and the hair and all that
And
stuff.
I'm just simply bringing up, not so much as a complaint, but the point of this isn't one of those movies where you watch it's like, wow, it's timeless. No, it's very much.
No.
I was
Very, very
surprised
other side of it.
because in the opening credits, the composer was Maurice Jarre. I don't know if you guys know who.
Yeah, he's a French dude.
And
He's a friend of mine.
he did one of my favorite scores, which is Witness, again with the Harrison Ford thing. He did the Mosquito. He does all of Peter Weir's films, and those all have really
I
good
know
music.
his name and
Yeah, Moriarty. Like there's a scene in Witness where they build a barn. I don't know if you remember like the famous barn building scene in Witness.
It's been a while, but yeah, I remember.
But anyway, so for some reason, I was like expecting some good music in this movie, and I did not get it. See, this is where we'd stop and wait for Darren to come back from the bathroom.
I'm just gonna peek at my
I may as well grab a beer while Darren's
notes.
streaming.
Have we met the actor with
streaming
3
the
names
sneak.
yet? What's his name? With Patrick in the title. The 3 named actor. Have we met him yet?
Not yet. Not yet.
Have we met the kid yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
And again, this is why I say a whole lot of nothing happens, Greg.
Yep.
It's like nothing. Like it's just kind of the same thing over and over again. Hey, well, are you still with us, Adam Abrams? But no, even Adam Abrams has abandoned us.
That's it. Anybody want a beer?
I'm all set.
I'm okay, thank you.
Greg, you all right?
Yeah. Thanks.
Did you pass me a sax?
No, you didn't, Sarah.
This is
We have no viewers.
we have two viewers.
And you're one of them?
Apparently, one of the rejected names when George Lucas wrote the Drive to Star Wars sax solo.
Oh, lame.
I know, terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Lame solo is what that is. Right, so it's just basically, I kind of feel like this movie has about 40 minutes of story and had to be stretched out to 90 minutes because there's just a lot of people sitting and talking about things we already know.
Well, basically, you want this movie. What you want is the dream stuff.
Yes, which we don't get nearly enough of.
No, you don't get nearly enough of it, and it's the best stuff in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're introduced to the first dream thing where he helps the dude who keeps falling off the building, I guess.
Yeah.
And the construction worker.
Yeah.
Which I thought, when I remember watching that, I thought, this is cool because you're standing in the building, the sky is going really fast over them, and it looked really cool.
Yeah.
But this is the problem. This is the problem I have with this movie. If you can die in your dreams, like Dennis Quaid falls off that girder.
Oh yeah, you're right.
He plunges
I
through it.
totally forgot about that.
He wakes up before he hits, doesn't he?
Yeah, but
I guess if you wake up before.
I guess.
Oh yeah, but okay. So they're big. Okay, whatever. Let's not worry so much about like
I'm
how,
not expecting too much realism.
No, of course
the overall idea is that bad guy Christopher Plummer is a bad guy. Surprise, surprise. And there's another bad guy who is as psychic as Dennis Quaid.
Oh, he's the best character in the movie.
He's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I can never remember his name, but
David Patrick Kelly.
Yeah, he's the Warriors come out to play. Yay!
Yeah.
He's
That's
also
him, right?
remember if I said I'd kill you last in Commando.
Oh yeah.
He gets dropped off the cliff, and he's also in
The Crow.
Yeah, but he's also in Twin Peaks.
Oh no, but he gets
He's
killed.
had a really interesting
He's got a
character
he's got-
career.
He
done
gets
great
killed more than
roles.
Sean Bean.
In this movie, he reminds me so
Isn't-
much of like the lost older brother of Vince Gallo,
Yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Well,
In the Crow usually that's one we could do actually. I don't really like the movie The Crow,
I don't like it either.
but I like it because that fucking actor is in it, and The Crow takes the time to like chain him up behind the wheel of like what's it, like a trashy sports car? I can never remember.
Okay,
Camaro.
no, yeah, Camaro.
Irod said.
A Trans Am.
It's like a Trans Am.
A Corvette.
And he fills the car full of like explosives. Like The Crow just takes all this time, this otherworldly.
Oh yeah,
And the whole time, like David Patrick Kelly is just like, you don't have to do this, Crow. And then he drives him off a pier and then blows him up like as he falls into the New York Bay. Anyway, the guy is awesome.
Yes.
He's the best part of this movie.
Yeah.
In a movie full of good actors, he's really the only interesting thing.
But he definitely stands out. And yeah, Quaid was saying, he's the guy. He's intense. He's a really nice guy, but he's intense and he's like a method actor. And he just gets so into his roles and stuff.
He's really and it comes through. Anyway, so the big plan, the devious plan, is that Christopher Plummer is trying to get Max von Sydow out of the way,
right?
Which he eventually does,
Well,
so that he can get David Patrick Kelly, the Warriors guy, to go into the president's dreams
and kill him
and murder him in his sleep.
Because the president keeps having recurring nightmares of nuclear holocaust and think he's going to be responsible for killing the world. And he's going to some.
He's going to like Geneva
for some peace accords, and he's going to, hopefully do a nuclear deterrent, all this stuff. They're going to disarm and whatnot.
Yeah.
And
right away you see like Plummer's eyes very subtly kind of flare up at this one, like, oh, don't do that. And then right away he's got the stake.
Well, there's also
Christopher Plummer refers to it as the emasculation.
Yes.
It's like basically saying he's going to cut our balls off. He's going to get rid of our big flying penises that blow up other countries.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is the plot.
That's the plot. But there's elements of where we get to from point A to point B, and Quaid's character, I can't remember what his name is.
I can't even remember.
Let's call him Dennis. So Dennis is he doesn't want to do it, and he said Max von Sydow, I'm out, and then Max von Sydow threatens him with taxes. Yeah.
He's like, oh.
The IRS.
I call my friends at the IRS. Unless you come to my dream. And then, as an actor, he must be like, what am I saying?
Yeah, I know.
Still, it does make sense for an 80s movie because it was all about like financial success.
Oh, but I just found that funny. That was the thing that turned the corner for me.
I didn't find it totally laughable because it's kind of like the guy's so shallow. Of course, it's not like you can appeal to him like, help us save humanity, but it's like, if we're going to fuck you over financially and you're already a weasel, like, of course he's going to. It didn't bother them.
Well, just agree to do it. Just do it. Obviously you're going to do it.
Or like, I don't know, or maybe he sees the kid and the kid, because there's a kid in this movie. And he sees,
Driscoll.
Like maybe he's like, no, Max von Sydow, I'm not going to do your stupid. I'm a free spirit. I'm not going to do your dream thing. And then maybe he like talks to the kid, and then he himself had nightmares as a kid.
Right.
Which is kind of what he winds up doing. But the kid could have been his motivating factor more than like you're going to get audited.
The threat of taxes.
And so he comes back to his apartment. I think after meeting George Wendt in the bar or whatever, and Warriors guy is in his room,
just wheedling on his sax,
just sucking on his sax,
just blowing that sax,
just forcing sax upon him.
So that in the script sucks sax.
Which is like the douchiest way to meet somebody. Like,
not only does he sucks sax, his sax sucks.
His sax sucks.
Well, we can't play this. He's just making the worst noises you can with it. He's like you're strangling.
And he's like, I think I'm pretty good at this.
The scene goes on forever. He keeps playing it forever and ever.
And Dennis Quaid is just kind of smirking at him.
Yeah.
And anyway,
and of course he's got a 3 name.
Oh, no! Sorry, I forgot.
No, go ahead, please.
So what makes it even douchier is it's not that Dennis Quaid comes back. Dennis Quaid gets out of the shower.
And Kevin Spacey's there.
There you go. I walked right in. No, but Dennis Quaid is in the shower, and then when he comes back into his room, some stranger rando is blowing on his horn.
Yeah, that's not
Kevin
Spacey
either.
Could have been. No, he would have. Actually, he could have been. Well, how old is? Never mind. We're not going to start talking about Kevin Spacey.
Please.
But yeah, so he plays just such a wonderful creep, and it's like, oh, good, finally, this guy.
Yeah. Who? And most creeps and killers in movies and stuff have 3 names.
Yeah.
And he has 3 names. It's like Tommy Ray Clepper.
Did you watch the documentary on the Blu-ray?
It was like an hour long. I started, but I said I don't want to watch it.
I couldn't believe it was an hour.
I know.
Because I'm like, it's usually 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I watched about 15 or 20 minutes, and that's what the writer said. The writer was like, for some reason, serial killers always have 3 names.
Well, you know why? Because when, say, like John Wayne Gacy, because they don't want to just put
David
John
Hyde
Gacy.
Pierce.
Because it could be a different.
It's a media thing. It's not so much that. It's not even like before they were caught. You're like, oh, hey, John Wayne. That's John Wayne Gacy next door.
Yeah.
They just, it's more how it's reported in the media.
Well, yeah, so it's
Lee Harvey Oswald.
So they don't mix it up with somebody else generally, because you don't want the other John Gacy who lives
mixed up with John Wayne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
John Wayne killed a bunch of kids.
I wouldn't be
surprised.
surprised.
It's funny you said that because at the height of the Clifford Olson terror here in the early 80s, the Lower Mainland, the totally horrific killings by Clifford Olson, there was an innocent plumbing supply guy named Clifford Olson who had to put out press releases like
Sorry.
stop harassing my plumbing
I didn't
business.
murder your children.
We're not like not only is it a coincidence that we have the same name, but we're not even remotely related.
My wife
Please.
lived in Surrey at the time, and kid on her street was a
That is
Jesus.
horrifying.
I grew up in Surrey, and I remember that shit.
I know a woman who grew up here in BC.
I was in Ontario at the time. I remember that shit.
I was a little kid, and it was like that's. Anyway,
Yeah.
I was very paranoid about being abducted by Clifford
course.
Orson when I was
Well, yeah, you should have been.
That's awful about your wife's friend.
Those
Anyway,
wasn't a-
so like let's talk about the dream sequences then. We don't necessarily have to talk about like the plot mechanics.
No, yeah.
There's only first of all there's not enough dream sequences.
No, there isn't.
I think there's maybe
It's
5.
So he sees the kid, Buddy Driscoll. He's in the machine with a different guy, like a psychologist or something. And
Yeah.
that guy goes into Buddy Driscoll's dreams and comes out catatonic.
Oh yeah.
It has to be taken away, as he said, in a basket. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like his mind is just melted.
That's why they need Dennis Quaid, is because the other guy, right.
Which
Because
was hilarious.
the other guy went nuts.
Well, which is hilarious because when Dennis Quaid goes into the kid's dreams, it's like, yeah, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
It's not going to melt my brain and turn me into like a zombie, you know.
Are we talking about the little kid in the wheelchair?
Yeah.
Because right here, if you want to talk about like previous podcasts, you guys laughed at me many a moon ago when we did a podcast about
We'll
brain
laugh at
candy.
you again.
I
I know.
talked to you like 20 minutes ago.
When we did the podcast about brain candy a while back, I brought up how controversial the character Cancer Boy was, but I said how when Cancer Boy is a character in the Kids in the Hall brain candy movie, it's making fun of kids like this that are common in certain films. So the time you guys were like, there are no kids like that. When I mentioned Mac and Me, you ridiculed me. But, but a lot of times there's the token. It's not in all films, but it's that there is that trope of the sick kid in the wheelchair kind of thrown in there to draw sympathy or make it, or try to cheer you up.
For the record, I ridicule anyone who mentions Mac and Me, so don't take it personally.
That's
I took it very.
That's like one of the worst things I've ever seen.
It is a monstrosity.
But the thing is, like, this kid didn't need to be in a wheelchair to draw sympathy.
I know.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't sleep. He's going crazy. He has like a giant.
But they add in the extras,
again,
the sick kid for sympathy.
With this movie, it's like
he's a pretty good actor, though, guy.
It's like it's another movie that you watch and you're like, I really wish they'd done another couple of passes on that screenplay.
Yeah.
Because they realized the kid doesn't have to be in a wheelchair. I mean, it's
the kid doesn't even have to be in the movie.
It's interesting that the kid.
The
kid should have been in the movie. You know what they didn't need was the Benny Hill hilarious sex romp dream sequence.
Well, they had to have a comedy bit. You know?
Oh my God!
The scary one. You know,
why do they need? Because that's another thing the writer said. It's like, well, the idea was that all of these dreams would be like different genres.
Yeah.
So you have the scary one, you have the political one, you have
the
and then
comedy,
you have the comedy one.
which was
That was almost how
racist as well.
I made
the Asian.
I should have just gone down to the corner and bought a newspaper and come back because I was so annoyed.
It was so
like
terrible.
I was like, I'll watch this for the podcast, but
Yeah.
only for the podcast. It was everything about it was annoying.
You're talking about the scene.
The sex scene.
Yes, it was
the sex
on the
dream
train,
scene.
you mean?
Sex.
no.
No, that was a good scene.
That was a good scene. No, this is the sort of the ugly henpecked guy with
Yeah.
his gorgeous
Oh, yeah.
wife,
Yeah.
which will never happens.
And
obviously.
why
It was
does
only
he
a sitcom.
get time at this gazillion-dollar clinic? Like I
You
understand.
can afford it.
He's that guy. He looked like a Super Mario Brothers impersonator. He was a schlub from the suburbs.
Yeah, because he kept having dreams
From the
about his,
schlubber.
He kept having dreams about
his wife being gay.
But how is that? Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
This facility has the security of like a top secret lab, but then the shit they're doing is so unimportant. But using technology that would completely change the world.
Mm.
Nothing about this movie makes any sense.
Not really.
Why they give this guy the time of day?
Don't think about it too hard.
I don't know. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Deep Throat. Like
Did not
You're right.
remind-
Well, that was my next pairing, and you blew that
did
one.
not
too.
remind me
no,
of
because I remember I finally saw Deep Throat a couple of years ago.
Wow.
You know, and I thought because I always thought there was going to be this really raunchy pornographic movie.
Pretty wrong.
It's pretty raunchy.
No, but what I wasn't prepared for was how awful I didn't know it was a comedy. And it's this really not funny, gross
Yep.
sex comedy with actual boning.
Yeah.
And that's what that scene in Dreamscape made me feel like. I feel like I'm watching Deep Throat again, but without the sex.
I saw Deep Throat in a class at Concordia, 35 millimeter print. Concordia University in Montreal
I think I'm
has.
going to say $35.
They have a 35 millimeter print in their archive of Deep Throat.
Yeah,
Did you
never
watch
need
that in
to.
the morning after Sallow and that double bill?
It was that same class. It wasn't like the same session of the class, but yeah, sexual representation in cinema. I saw at like 9 in the morning. Deep Throat.
I never need to watch.
Who wants to
Deep Throat.
watch that in the morning?
Jesus
I
Christ.
didn't mind. It was a great class. It was. I mean, the movie is gross,
I don't
but
like watching
but it
anything in
was
the morning.
just insane to see. Like, it is,
So there's
for
this.
what it's worth,
Yeah.
important
I saw it a
That's
long
all.
time ago.
I mean,
historically. Harry Reeves.
The-
Can you say more?
The premise of this guy's
Yeah.
dream is that, and also I've never had a recurring dream in my life. I've
No.
never had the same dream twice. I
Does
don't
not-
understand recurring dreams.
I don't think it ever happens.
But it's
I've
like
had recurring
it's
dreams.
already
I
it's
have
already cliche. The dude, even if it was happening in real life, the guy comes home early from work. His wife is boning his brother.
I also like that it's a dream because it's all shot in like it's widescreen.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
it's all a little distorted, so you know it's a dream. But it's basically that's their concept of what a dream looks like, is just to make the picture a little wider.
They've never. I can't. Well, okay, we'll talk about other dream movies at some point in this podcast.
I'm sure we will.
Because I'm wondering, like, which dream movie actually.
Well, it wasn't
closest.
thing.
Oh, I could say.
It was a thing in the '80s. Like the dreams were
Yeah.
kind of big.
Yeah, you had like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street for me
Dream
is the
Warriors.
definitive of the ones I've seen.
The
I haven't
first
seen every
Nightmare on
last
Elm
dream.
Street is probably the
It's the
closest.
definitive
Yeah,
dream.
I would
film.
agree with that.
It's a brilliant film.
But anyway, so the
Why would
guy,
you do that?
whatever. So there's that dream. There's the dream where, yeah, Buddy on the the unlucky construction worker,
But the thing is,
and that whole thing plays out. Sorry.
well, I like that scene because it's the construction worker doesn't fall off. Dennis Quaid falls off the girder.
Yeah.
Which I wasn't expecting that.
Neither was I. I thought that. Well, yeah, I thought they were both gonna fall.
Mm.
One of the few things from this movie I remember is that like that Dennis Quaid falling moment,
You know,
because it makes me think of RoboCop.
with his giant
What-
arms.
He's like falling up, like whenever it's like someone's falling.
Yeah.
And
You know when they filmed the scene in Dreamscape on the building, they were actually on top of the building. It was like on a weekend,
And
and they just had a couple nets that were.
Yeah.
And Dennis Quaid is, I don't think that would fly too well today.
God no.
and they were actually in a dream too. That was
Whoa.
the
They actually
more
went
fucked
into
up.
yeah.
Heavy.
They actually went into one.
Dennis
Actually-
Quaid
they
was
actually built
asleep
that
when they
machine.
threw him off.
Anyway, so Dennis Quaid goes into the dream, and then he's all excited because he's like, it was so vivid, it was so real, or whatever.
And then I like the buddy dream because it introduces the snake dude.
Oh yeah, the kid.
And then there's actually some interesting things in there where they go by his dad and who's that? He's like, "It's my dad. He won't help us."
Oh
and
yeah,
then-
no,
and
that
then-
was a really good scene.
It was a good scene.
Yeah, that's probably the best scene in the whole
And
movie.
then he gets eaten. And then there's a scene when they run down the crickety staircase in the middle of nowhere, which is kind of cool.
Did either of you guys see that Dr. Seuss live action movie? It's called The 5,000 Fingers of Dr.
Yeah, I've
Seuss.
seen
I've
it.
never seen it.
That's totally what I thought of.
Oh.
Do we have it here?
We do. Dr. Seuss. It's the only Dr. Seuss film where the actual Dr. Seuss was alive and had a hand in its creation.
It's really cool.
Just his hand.
just one hand.
I think it's just
with
a short.
the 1,000
I think it's just a
fingers
short
down
film,
his
if I'm not mistaken.
It's
like,
not. It's a feature.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. It's a feature.
Anyway, yeah, but there's the scene when like he's running away from his piano teacher or something in this Dr. Seuss movie, and it's like this crazy ziggity zaggity stairway. And
Yeah.
I actually wondered, like, I think that Dr. Seuss movie came out in like the 60s.
Yeah.
So I
50s or
wonder if there
60s.
was any influence there. There was certainly like a Salvador Dali, like an MC Escher kind of feel.
It's funny that because the name slipped in my mind, but there's a Alfred Hitchcock film and Gregory Peck's in it. But the dream sequence is designed by Dali.
Oh, Spellbound.
That's it.
Yeah.
The name slipped
Yeah,
my
the-
mind.
the,
Spellbound. That's it.
On the extras on the Blu-ray, the production designer said that like he was absolutely influenced by
Yeah.
Spellbound. So yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I like the kid's dream.
Yeah.
And I also like the president's dream.
Yeah, because it's just things that keep blowing up.
Yeah. I don't know. There should have been. The dreams were actually really well done. Even that awful fucking sex romp one was still
Well,
interesting
I
enough.
like it because the effects in the day in '84 weren't great, and it was obviously the green screen or whatever it's called, but it worked in the dreams. because dreams aren't supposed to be.
They often have that. Yeah. I've had realistic dreams, but I've also had the ones with the clunky, weird
You've had
imagery.
the green screen in your dreams.
Yeah.
Green screen dream
Green
weaver.
screens.
I believe you
I
can
had that
make-
one with the pimples, actual pimples.
Whoa.
None were harmed in the making of that dream.
Of that dream.
In the
They
dream.
were in your room while that was happening.
It's, by the way, did you notice how phallic that kid's nightmare was?
Wait,
He's like, it's my father. He won't help us or whatever. And then
I didn't notice. But
then like this fucking like big snake man comes. They're being chased by the personification
of a giant snake.
of a snake. Like I don't know. I was noticing. Maybe I was just in a random mood.
You see dicks wherever you go.
I
That's
work
all.
here.
That's all you see. Because they.
Thank you and good night, everybody. I'm gonna cut in like audience applause on that one.
No.
like sitcom sound effects. Yeah. No, but like, yeah, I got this. I doubt that the screenwriter was working any subtext.
No,
this.
they just. Well, it was supposed.
This is a very shallow movie.
It was supposed to be a rat man.
That's right.
Yeah, it was written originally as a rat man, but they thought that looked ridiculous. Be a guy with a rat head.
Oh, because that snake didn't look. Actually, the snake was pretty scary.
Well, I like the snake. It looked different every time, which is fine because it's a dream.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that's what they're going for. Because sometimes it was stop motion, which I really like. I love stop motion animation.
Okay.
And then sometimes a guy in a suit.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
So Dennis Quaid goes into the kids' nightmare.
Sure.
And he's like, don't you worry, you just got to stand up to the snake man and whatever. And it's a pretty good scene. I liked it a lot. And the kid winds up like cutting off the snake man's head with an axe, I think.
Yep.
And then later in the movie, Dennis Quaid is in the president's head trying to save him from
He's
the lawyer's
literally
guy.
in his head. Yep.
And whatever, the president is sedated, so he can't wake up, and so they just have to like ride this thing out. I'm not even going to bring in like the time thing doesn't really work, but whatever.
Doesn't matter.
Because dreams don't really play out in actual time. It's all like this, just how your brain is perceiving things. Anyway, but at the end of that dream, Warriors guy turns into the Snake Man.
Yeah.
So is the idea that he was fucking with the kid? Was he like jumping into the kid's brain and being the nightmare?
Because there's a scene when after Dennis Quaid has helped a buddy that he's drawing the Snake Man.
Oh.
And then David Patrick Kelly is like lingering about, and then Quaid gets mad. He crumples up the paper that he drew the picture of and throws away, and he grabs it and pulls it out.
See, I missed that moment.
Yeah, he knows that because Dennis Quaid actually said, yeah, that's actually pretty scary, and this is what was.
Because I thought like, I thought actually that's really it. I thought, it's really interesting that David Patrick Kelly is just for fun. He's so good at this like telekinetic dream thing that he doesn't even need the machine.
Right.
Well, apparently nobody needs the machine.
No, after a while nobody needs the machine.
What a waste of taxpayer money.
all that machinery, yeah. And then later on we found out that David Patrick Kelly's gone and killed an old woman in her dream. I wish we would have seen that. Show that.
Yeah.
Although there's a certain horror to her just like flatlining.
Yeah, but I prefer to see it.
It's a good scene though, right after the old lady dies.
Such a scene.
When Dennis Quaid confronts David Patrick Kelly in the canteen.
Well, even before that, when he sees him in the booth and he's got a smirk on his face, the guy that David Patrick Kelly just killed the woman, he's got that evil smirk. I thought that was pretty good.
It was great.
The
And
scene
I
in the
love when
cafeteria is really good.
it's got my favorite line where he's like, because he grabs three-name guy at one point,
Greg's gonna love this.
and he says, "Get your hand off me, or you'll pull back.
Or you'll draw back a stump."
Draw back a stump.
So last week, Greg, our chief technician
Our only
here,
technician.
the guy who works the mics, we got into a bit of a debate about where that line, because I know it from American Psycho.
But American Psycho is well after this.
I know, so I didn't realize that American Psycho
I
was probably
originally
referencing
thought
Dreamscape.
it was in Dreamscape, and you vehemently
Did-
fought against
Did
it.
you pull out Dreamscape?
Yeah, that's where I thought it was from.
Oh.
But it is in American Psycho.
It is
I
definitely
don't remember
in
that line in
It,
American
yeah,
Psycho.
it
I
touched
love
me
it.
again,
I
you
don't
pull back a stump,
I remember
and
the
then they
great
go
line.
like, "Oh, Patrick." Actually, we should do American Psycho.
We should.
Yeah, I love that movie. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so he has that line. It's like, like let go of me, or you'll draw back a stump. And anyway, so then there's these shenanigans. All of the best stuff in this movie is dream stuff, and I don't know why. I don't know why they couldn't have as interesting a story outside of the dream world.
Well, they tried. You know, like you just mentioned the scene in the cafeteria when Quaid confronts David Patrick. He said they're eating a sandwich, and he's just eating it there's no without a care in the world.
Made me hungry.
And he's so good. It's such a good scene. He's so good in that.
Yes.
But then the scene after that, I believe it's Quaid meets up with George Wendt again. And they're outside, and
my brain kept screaming,
Norm, of course, Norm. And then all of a sudden they're being chased by
there's like
some evil guys.
Yeah, they get overtaken by almost like a pep rally.
All of a sudden there's like a wave of cheerleaders
A
coming out
pep
of the
rally
building.
leaving a building.
Yeah. Dennis Quaid and George Wendt meet up in some park outside of at the university.
He's like a Stephen King writer in this.
And then. Yeah, he's not even a journalist.
He's barely in the movie too.
Yeah.
Like he's like a Dean Koontz.
Yeah,
who just happens to and who knows all this shit about like that would be like if you met Dean R. Koontz and he could tell you like who actually orchestrated 9/11 and he had all this evidence. You know what I mean?
I would expect nothing less from Dean.
Like
Koontz
it's ludicrous that a pulp author anyway, and also. Totally unnecessary character. I love George Wendt, but
he's barely in it.
But it just added a little more dimension to it. He was unnecessary, but I like that he was in it, and I like what happened to him. I like he shot. And
this was his.
Relay.
That's a good way to go.
This was his final scene in the movie, and afterwards, I also saw in the doc. Apparently, Dennis Quaid was like, "Where's the other actor?" And they said George Wendt.
Oh God! For fuck's sake!
Can we put a cap on the pun?
It's a good thing Engelbert Humperdinck isn't in this movie.
Well, you're a bit of a pun, and you got one on.
So Dennis Quaid, like it's totally obvious. There are no twists or surprises.
No.
Can we talk about the dirt bike chase?
Which was awesome.
Maybe, but
again,
it
was awesome because it was terrible.
Yeah.
Like when he like. It loses and then he flies down the stairs and then
onto a bunch of
there's a whole bunch of bales of hay like where people are walking
at the bottom of the stairs.
You know why though? But that I read an interview with the screenplay writer.
Oh
my God.
No. It was a big analogy because he hits the hay.
Oh Jesus! Actually, that does kind of make sense because it's about being asleep.
Allegory, friends.
Anyway, yeah. So I don't even remember how he gets on the dirt bike or like
he
how does he
is running away from the bad guys in a dirt bike. Rider, he sees on the highway, almost hits him and wipes out.
Which is
checks that he's okay and then swipes.
Yeah,
and then he steals his motorcycle.
It's amazing. He's being chased, or is he the back cop? Yeah. Well, so they make a big deal out of automatic car door locks. In the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning they keep him in the car.
Like he's this fucking psychic, and he's like, well, what if I just got out of the car? And they're like, I got the fucking automatic door lock. It's the latest thing in 1984.
Yeah. That's the big thing. Rush had an album around that time, Power Windows. Like it was all about referencing.
But then later on, he gets grabbed by
auto safety.
He gets grabbed by the G-Man again.
Yeah, because
he's like. Oh, I know about those automatic locks, and so he pushes the guy.
Oh, yeah, he's in the back of the car with Christopher Plummer. His name is Bob Blair, which is awesome.
Bob Blair?
Two first names. Bob Blair.
Yeah.
But they show his foot. There's a little latch to push the seat up.
Yeah.
It was right there, and then he jumps in.
And I swear, Plummer glances down at it at one point,
maybe.
Not intentionally.
But he says, "Work for me or you die."
Yes,
which is on the application form here.
It is. And it's the only reason I'm still here.
Hunter, remember he always said, "Works for me."
Works for me. No, so yeah, so he. So I guess the idea is just to go. This guy's so clever because he figured out a way to unlock the fucking automatic lock. Like this must have been a new thing in cars in 1984. He jumps out of the car, a moving car, on the highway. By the way, whenever anyone does that in a movie and doesn't break both their legs
or their arms or their heads smashed in.
Anyway, he jumps out and then on spine. He jumps out of the car and then lands on like a ravine and then tumbles down a ravine. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then they come after him or
Well,
whatever.
That's when he encounters
he's
the
in shape.
dirt
You
bike.
saw earlier when he got out of the shower. The fucking guy's ripped, man.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, Harrison Ford's got nothing on Dennis Quaid.
That was true.
Kevin Spacey, he's left the bloody pulp of the shower. You know, he's not only like a ripped guy, Dennis Quaid, he kicks Kevin
And you know
Spacey's
what?
ass. And,
Yeah. And when the shower's all clogged up, you know who he calls?
Yeah.
Christopher Plummer.
Well done.
I can't believe you
I
didn't.
know, eh?
I'm just beating you to the punch on that one.
Thank you.
Anyway, so
Kill me now.
So yeah. So I thought that was at night when he met George Wendt and all of this. Like
It doesn't matter.
it's like he's being chased and then he keeps going back to his like hotel or his dorm.
His dorm, yeah.
Like it's like, are these the most? And this is the president's men who
All
can't
of the
seem to
president's
catch Dennis Quaid on a university campus. At the end of the movie, he's just kind of like lurking around the university campus,
Well, the
and he
president's
sneaks
there
in a
sleeping.
side door.
Well, you saw the defense on the Capitol recently. You
No,
know,
yeah, it's a good. Yeah, it's a good.
real life, like it's weaker than you think.
Well, I also like in this movie, but back in the 80s where they predispose that it's like people would be upset if the president was killed.
Oh yeah.
like you're going to try and stop the president from being killed. Like nowadays, it was Trump's like, well,
At
What
the
about
time-
Reagan? People were traumatized by Reagan.
Well, so here's their plan, right? They're
His
gonna
popularity went way up.
they're gonna send Warriors guy into the president's head.
yeah, but this is the time of Reagan. Like, I'm just saying nowadays, like, so with Bush and especially Trump, like would anyone give a shit?
But
if someone
dying,
killed
okay,
guys?
if the president died in his sleep, like the whole idea is Christopher Plummer's like, nobody will suspect murder if he died in his sleep on
That's
some
good-
college campus.
It's a good plan.
It's a terrible plan.
No, because how can you prove like someone murdered him in his sleep?
You're the
You
fucking.
can't.
This guy's basically the Secretary of Defense, right?
Is that what it says?
Or I'm not sure. Like I'm not sure who he is, but
no one knows.
but
who
whatever.
he is.
He's like a high-ranking, political official, who then tells the pub. So what's he gonna say? Well, the president was having nightmares, so we took him to this fucking like low security
He doesn't say
college
that.
campus. He slept in a grungy old fucking dorm room, and then we
Next door to David. Patrick
and by the
Kelly.
way, he was under heavy sedation.
Yeah.
And then he died in his sleep. That is so. If you
Again,
put,
but-
you may as well just put a pillow over his face.
But
You
still-
don't need
but
to
you
send a
s-
guy into his dream.
But you still can't prove anything. Like, how are you going to prove somebody went into his dream?
Well, you
and
could
murdered him?
just lie. You don't need to prove anything at all. You're the government. You're just like, well, the president went to bed and then he didn't wake up.
Yeah.
You're just gonna have to take my word
They
for it.
don't have to say he was in the
Yes,
university.
Mr. Secretary, why was the president sleeping in a grungy fucking dorm room on a low security campus
Who's the
at some fucking university, not the
who's-
White House?
who's to say that he didn't? Who's to say he's even there?
You know,
They could have moved him.
Like, it's not a
elsewhere.
Twitter.
All I'm saying
Or
is
just
that-
leave
the
no
president-
further.
like,
He's not
he's
tweeting
like-
out
he's
in
like-
a grungy
but-
dorm room.
but Christopher
This
Plummer
sucks.
is like, finally, I can kill the president by sending this guy from the Warriors into the president's dreams.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you just sedate him and put a fucking pillow over his face?
Because you could tell that he had been asphyxiated by suffocating to death. When they do the autopsy, they'll know he's suffocated.
Yeah.
Plus,
maybe.
it's not like they're totally covering up the fact that he's at a university. You
And
say
he's a guy that has
the
to do that.
president was at a medical unit at a local university and he passed away in his sleep. Like, it makes sense.
Oh, you're good at this.
Well, you
Right back.
know what? It's the tone that he said it in.
Well, then
It's
also,
like
but
your
then also,
hyperbolic tone.
hey, why was
Oh,
that
man,
creepy
yeah.
weirdo who murdered his father sleeping in the adjacent room?
Well, he'd be long gone.
It's like,
But
since when is the president sleeping? You know, that'd be like if Jean-Benet Ramsey was sleeping,
at Ted Bundy's house.
John Benet Ramsey. The kid was Jean Benet.
The kid that disappeared.
You mean-
John Bennett Ramsey.
Benet, you know,
No, I think you mean John Wayne Bobbitt.
Okay, a
You
known
want to talk
murderer.
about slicing heads off snakes? You
I'm
know?
not talking about that.
A known murderer is sleeping in the adjacent room from the fucking president in some dorm. Minimal security. Dennis Quaid just basically waited for the maid to open the side door and slipped in.
I gotta go again. Speaking of slipping in and slipping out.
But-
Anyway, it's-
Oh, by the way, Darren, you suggested about the cap on funds. May I suggest a better solution? A Kate Capshaw on puns.
That's not
We
even
haven't,
fun.
we haven't mentioned Kate Capshaw in this movie.
We haven't.
And
And may I say, she's the poor man's Kim Cattrall.
Not at all. Not at all. Kate Capshaw is a lovely woman.
You know what? Actually,
But not nearly as good an
well,
actor.
well, they both. Funny you should mention Kim Cattrall, because Kim Cattrall was the Kate Capshaw of Alan Queen in The Lost City of Gold and King Solomon's Mines.
I think I'm going to say Porky's.
Now, like, this is some serious nerd shit, but okay, so Indiana Jones comes out, it's the biggest thing in the world, and so they made these
A
cheap
whole bunch of
knockoffs
ones, yeah.
starring
Remo Williams.
Oh, Remo. Fuck, I'd love to do Remo Williams.
Fred Williams. So this one, Fred
Not
Williams.
Fred Williams,
No.
Fred
Fred
Ward. Fred Ward.
Fred Ward, yes.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a whole series.
That guy should have been an action star, man. He was great in Tremors. I loved him in Remo Williams.
Henry and June.
That's that was the first NC-17 film ever.
Ever.
A little bit of trivia for you.
Yes.
Yeah, because like it's not X-rated, but it's sure
Well,
there's
it's
a
got
lot
some-
of boning in that
It's
movie.
got some good steamy scenes.
Oh
for sure.
my god! And then I started reading Anais Nin,
Me too.
and just
I know.
because of that movie, and I was like, what is this some boring ass fucking?
No, I thought it was pretty erotic. Actually.
Erotica is so.
It's subjective. It's
Yeah.
whatever you like.
Was it on a record?
Anyway,
but
so
actually, we never talked about the.
we haven't talked about Kate Capshaw.
Yeah, or the scene when he invades her dreams and.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Okay, so I'll just finish my thought and then we'll move on to that. So,
Sure.
like Kate Capshaw, you mentioned Kim Cattrall. Kim Cattrall was
I always confuse
was
the two.
basically the Willie Scott of the Alan Quatermain.
Who's Willie Scott?
Willie Scott was Kate Capshaw's character in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Alan Quatermain totally
Al-
predates Indiana Jones.
Of course, but the movies
Yeah.
don't, right? So like,
By the way, the best Alan Quatermain was a character on General Hospital. There's
What?
a rich guy named Alan Quatermain on General
Oh,
Hospital.
okay. Anyway, whatever. I'll probably cut all this shit out of the podcast.
No, you won't.
Well, it's like
We're talking about it
there's
wrong,
a link
you know?
between Kim Cattrall and Kate Capshaw, and that link is Indiana Jones and Alan Quatermain.
Okay, then tell
Anyway,
us.
so yeah, she's fine. She's not given anything to do except put up with Dennis Quaid perving on
Pretty
her
much,
constantly.
yeah.
And I understand in the '80s this was considered charming, roguish behavior. But on this time, I'm gonna kind of side with the social justice warriors and go like, it's inappropriate.
Yeah, he
Workplace.
He invaded her dreams and
Yeah.
seduced her in her dreams. But it's still a dream.
Yeah,
It's-
see,
it's
what I
still-
what I
it's kinda
wrote-
creepy.
What I wrote was Dreamscape or Dream Rape.
It wasn't quite that bad.
It was, dude. I don't know.
Well, when
he just shows up in her dream.
Uh-huh.
He's conscious.
That's true.
Is there a difference between like
That's true.
between a woman like roofing a chick and invading your dreams and boning her?
But it never actually happened, though. It's a dream. Like, it didn't actually happen.
Yeah, and that's kind of what they were saying, and it was kind of played as this like, oh, it's a bit of a meet cute.
But
No, she stresses it that she feels it's a violation.
Well,
It's absolutely a violation.
She says that
Yeah.
though, yeah, of course.
There's also a little interesting thing because the guy who takes the ticket in the room, the cabin,
That's right.
the berth that they're in, it lingers on for just a this is a little bit too long, which is a little bit weird.
Because they show him later in the
And then at the end,
again, the Anton Chekhov. You show that.
They show
You
that-
show that ticket taker. He better
They show
appear
that-
again.
yeah.
there are 3 scenes involving trains in this movie.
Yes, there's a
And
lot of
that,
trains.
and that guy's in
But
two of them.
when we see Kate Capshaw, when they come into in her dream and the train's rocking gently back and forth, and she's rocking gently back and forth.
Mhm.
It's like, oh my goodness. I remember that being a very appealing thing to me as a nice.
And then he blows her mind. Like they make out, and then she wakes up, and he's just sitting in a chair staring at her.
I know.
Like,
How creepy is
like
that?
even if he didn't know, like
But- and then-
there's no. That's never a good thing.
But
To
the
have
thing
Dennis
is-
Quaid staring at you when you wake up.
She's pissed off, like graciously so. But then he diffuses it by saying, "Hey, I did it without the machine," and all of a sudden now that stuff goes out the window.
So like, you raped me
Right.
without the use of a machine.
Yeah. Anyways,
So that wasn't so bad. Oh yeah, so it's after this that Dennis Quaid meets up with George Wendt, and the bad
and the cheerleaders.
and they're outside. And it's just fucking hilarious. It's like,
Yeah.
here come the bad guys to murder us,
And all of a
and
sudden,
then
they got all these
Alex's
cheerleaders
favorite
come on.
expression, Deus ex machina.
Yeah.
The door bursts open, and a bunch of fucking cheerleaders
They're
just
running
flood.
out.
It's just and
And then they're in a parade or something.
It's kind of brilliant that they kill George Wendt in that parade because it's like you may as well just do it. No one's paying attention.
They shoot her in the chest.
I thought they were safe when the cheerleader showed up.
Yeah,
Boy, was I wrong.
cheerleaders generally will save you, but not in this movie.
Oh my god. Anyway, so then Dennis Quaid goes on the run, and then he jumps out of the car and all this shit, and then he gets on the motorbike. Oh no. So then my favorite line in the whole movie is Dennis Quaid's on a payphone, and he calls the lab.
Oh, when the car is sitting off in the distance.
Yeah, and he's talking to Kate Capshaw, and he's like, and everyone knows that the president is going to be at the lab, right? And it's weird that Christopher Plummer was like, no, we have to do this at the White House, and Max von Sydow insists we do it at my lab.
Then Christopher Plummer insisted they do it in one specific part of the lab.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, if you really want to murder the president, you probably want him in that fucking lab.
Yeah. No, but he wanted him in the room next to David Patrick Kelly.
That's so fucking stupid. Anyway, so Dennis Quaid is in his payphone in the middle of a parking lot. You know, his payphones often are.
Yeah, I know. It's just in the middle of a parking lot.
It's just like
nothing around.
I've never seen a payphone in the middle of a parking lot.
Because it doesn't exist.
And he's talking to Kate Capshaw, and he's like, Blair, yeah. It's like, well, Blair's going to kill the president, right? And so he says, Blair's got the president with him. And then she goes, the president of the United States?
No. The president.
President's choice?
Yeah,
you know, that president.
Blah.
But I couldn't believe it. It's like, yes, obviously the president of the United States. We're like I actually kind of wanted to go like, yeah, you dumb bitch. Fucking president of the United States. What do you think I'm talking about?
Think about it.
Anyway, and then someone drives a car at high speed towards, and that never.
And of course, you can't get the door open. You know,
and they can never get the fucking. But those doors are weird.
Yeah, I know. When you're in panic.
So yeah, so then he gets on a dirt, or whatever. No, okay.
It doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah, it is great though when he runs onto the highway and there's a guy on a dirt bike he waves his arms and the guy loses control of his bike. He's like, I can't even. The guy waving his arms, and he's like, "Are you okay?"
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I'm okay.
And he just steals his fucking motorbike.
I'm like, yeah, you fucking idiot. You're just like, what the fuck?
What, you're running around the middle of the goddamn road.
But he's like, yeah, I'm okay.
But there's only one movie I can think of that has a better "I'm taking your car" moment, and that's, you guys ever see that Captain America movie that never got released?
Oh no! Well, how could we ever see it?
Well, no, I mean it got released eventually, but it was like it was made as a placeholder. Like they had to make.
Do you mean the Fantastic Four movie that was made?
No, I mean the Captain America movie.
Okay.
It was like 89 or something.
Nope.
And it's this awful low budget thing that the studio only made. I think it might have been Canon. But, you know, they made it so that they didn't have to give up the rights to Captain America. But they spent as little money as possible. But, yeah, Captain America hitches a ride. he pretends to be throwing up on the side of the road. And then when someone... No, he hitches a ride. And then he's like, please pull over the car. I'm going to be sick.
Is he in outfit?
And he's like Captain America.
He's wearing his,
I think he's wearing his Captain America outfit. He's like, oh, okay, Captain America. And he pulls over. Then Captain America gets out, he pretends to puke, and then when the guy gets out, Captain America just like runs over to his truck and steals it.
Why would you do that?
We have an amazing
Anyways,
70s Captain America here.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
There's two of them. Christopher Lee's in one of them.
Let's get back to
anyway.
Let's finish this thing off.
When he steals that guy's dirt bike, it totally reminded me of that Captain America
That's
moment.
pretty
Anyway, long story short, all roads. Oh, there's the dirt bike chase.
So actually, I have a question. So it ends up David Patrick Kelly invades the president's dream. Does it have to be? Why does it have to be the next room?
Does he not make some kind of arrangement with the thugs who wanted to beat him up at the racing track?
Yeah, because he's been chased by the government thugs, and then the other thugs get on their horses and get on their way and stuff. But Dennis Quaid's going to owe them.
Don't they? Isn't there a scene when he's like riding his dirt bike around in the racetrack?
Yep.
He's being chased by that should be an entertaining scene.
It's not.
It just wasn't.
Actually, the entire chase is really lame. It's lame and boring.
Also,
and then he falls down some stairs into a bale of hay. Yeah.
And then he like jumps in the back of a truck or something and gets away. I can't remember.
He jumps into a cattle truck.
I totally forgot. So
when
he's on that phone in the middle of the parking lot, you find out that that's the parking lot of the horse track. So not only is he using a payphone in the middle of a parking lot, he knows there are people who want to beat him to death.
But why are those guys still there? There's no horse racing going on.
Well, I think they work there, don't they?
They live there?
They own the track.
Maybe they're part horse.
I don't know. Oh yeah, and there's like a Steve McQueen jump, which is pretty cool.
Oh, because it had that strategically placed like 2x8 or whatever.
Yeah.
Just like against.
Just a random ramp.
Yeah.
Anyway, so all of that excitement happens, and then we get down to it. Warriors guy goes invades the president's brain while he's sleeping, and Quaid also does in a different room.
Yeah,
and again, there's that crack security.
He's in Kate Capshaw's room, which is underneath the president. So yeah, I know.
And he's like trying to do it like through the roof. If I could just sleep standing up with my arm extended to the roof. But then he's like again on a train, and then he's
what is with all the trains in this movie?
Again, the phallic imagery, snakes and trains.
Yeah. That was the alternate title.
Snakes on a train.
No, snakes and trains.
Yeah, the pun well is running dry. It's late in the night.
And then so they're in the dream going through like a red wasteland of nuclear holocaust.
Yeah. And then
because it's the president's dream, that's all he can dream about.
And then David Patrick Kelly.
He pulls out some Star Wars looking nunchucks.
Oh no, he jumps through the window.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I guess. And then he does a little bit of a Freddy Krueger thing with his fingers.
Yeah, he stabs a cop.
Do you think that was
deliberate?
That was
actually they're the same year, aren't they? The first Nightmare on Elm Street is 84. So coincidence.
But yeah, so like David Patrick Kelly's got all these great things he can do in dreams, and what does Dennis Quaid do? He conjures up like an old Irish cop to come and talk to him.
I don't know if Dennis Quaid did that.
Who else did that?
I think that was just part of his dream.
Whose dream?
The president.
So the president dreamed up an old
everyone's
Irish
nuked. Everyone's nuked except the cop. By the way, at one point I totally thought of the Warriors, and I'm not joking because
I know you're not
throughout the movie, but because remember, there's a point in this dream where the Triple D guy from the Warriors points at the president, like, he did this to you. He did this to you. I'm waiting for him to go, the Warrior did it. The Warrior did it. Yeah, the way he's pointing and yelling.
And so then they start running away from David Patrick
Kelly.
Manson or whatever his fucking name is.
Neil Patrick Harris.
I can't remember what his name is in this movie. It's a terrible name.
Tommy Boy or something.
Yeah, it's
like Tommy David Glopnik or something.
It is.
That's the worst name ever. Rocky V has two of the worst names ever.
Gunn.
Tommy Gunn and also Union Kane is the other boss.
That's really gross. And so and then there's a pretty good action scene where they're running away.
Yeah, that's okay.
But it ends very abruptly. It's quite imaginative. Like they're running through these catacombs, and then David Hyde Pierce conjures up a bunch of like radiation zombies. It's like you did this to us.
I think you're supposed to on the subway when they or the train when they did that.
Again,
that's a really good scene, and it's really
very Warriors because it's on a subway and they're yelling, "He did it!"
Yeah, and they're after him.
But it's like they have to go through the zombies that are all grabbing them and stuff, and it's like, oh, this is actually getting pretty good.
Yeah, but they're not very threatening. The zombies will do this.
It's kind of like a Michael Jackson Thriller kind of zombie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and then I guess they jump off the train or something.
Yeah, they're running through some like debris,
like a weird alleyway or something.
It's like a city that's been nuked. It's Washington D.C. that's been nuked. They go by the White House. And it's all destroyed. There's a Capitol building,
And then David turns into the snake. He turns into the snake eye, which is a pretty decent bit of claymation, I guess.
I love the stop motion animation, but I'm just wishing like takes place in the dream world. I always had a problem with this. All the way to Inception. It's like, this is all you can think of to do in your dream world is chase guys around and do this and that, and shoot at them, whatever.
I will say this, though, because obviously there are comparisons to Inception to be made with a movie like this. With Inception, it was like there was one really great special effectsy moment when they turn Paris inside out.
That was really cool.
But for the rest of it, my disappointment with Inception was you went skiing, you hung out in a hotel, and you sat in a van.
Well, like there's a really cool hotel scene where everything's revolving. They're kind of fighting in the hallway, but the end scene where they're storming the castle.
It's
like,
just so
stupid.
I'm just like, I don't care about skiing. I want to see crazy dream stuff.
Yeah,
and so it's
exactly. You can do so much.
And so at least with Dreamscape, it's like at least it's stark red.
Yeah.
The camera work is really weird. Like Dreamscape is actually trying to even that scene where the first dream where they're up on top of the scaffolding and all that.
Yeah.
That's really a really well done,
really
evocative.
Cool. Yeah.
Like it makes you feel like you're displaced, like you are in a dream state. Whereas Inception is just kind of like they sit in the cafe and then everything goes all like wonky.
But that's some of the stuff was really cool in that movie.
Yeah, sure. I've never really enjoyed Inception.
No, I think it's one of his weakest films.
Anyway, so I lean more towards like a Nightmare on Elm Street. It seems like the horror element of dream movies.
Yeah,
they do it better.
Well, the Nightmare on Elm Street, the Dream Warriors one, did like all the dream stuff in the Nightmare on Elm Street movies are like 10 times better than this.
Yeah,
and 10 times better than Inception. Because they're just more creative and interesting and fun and weird and
also it's not like Dream on Elm Street. It's all Nightmare. So
they
just go crazy horror. Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street is completely.
I mean the first few anyway.
The first film. The rest are mostly just kind of schlock.
Let's take this one home.
So
they chase around and then.
And so then, but then
take this one home. Put it.
So he turns into the Snake Man, and it's supposed to be like a wow moment, and it is. It's like holy shit, and the Snake Man's gonna go kill the president. Not sure why the president cares about the Snake Man exactly.
I don't think he cares about it. They're just being chased.
They're just like
the Snake Man bites Dennis Quaid, and Dennis Quaid heals himself because he can finally realize he can actually do some things in the dream.
Well, yeah, by the way, why isn't Dennis Quaid sprouting knives out of his fingertips and shit?
Or giant like swords or like guns out of his
or anything, but instead he's just running.
I know.
Like let's get out of here.
Always a disappointment when it comes to this. They just end up running around in a cool-looking set.
So then, so he's the Snake Man, and then Dennis Quaid, his power is he turns into
his dad.
Not his dad, but like
David
Warriors guy's dad, and he's
who he murdered.
And he still has Dennis Quaid's voice.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, Jimmy, why you do this?
Hey son, you peed your." It's kind of like the end of Manhunter, like you paid your pants, you disgusting pig, and that's what. You guys ever see Manhunter or Red Dragon?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, anyway,
and then Eddie Albert runs up behind him and puts a spear through him.
Yeah, no, but then he like it's hilarious because David Hyde Pierce, Kelly, Warriors, he turns into half a Snake Man.
Yeah,
like he turns into this like weird little snake kid.
There's
it's like
it's really funny. There's a really funny like when Dennis Quaid turns into his dad, and then half snake guy turns around, his eyes are going to go, whoa. It's so funny, there's reactions like, whoa.
And then he's like,
actually laugh.
But I don't understand why he didn't just turn back into David Kelly Pierce Man. Like, I don't know.
Well, he was working his way back to Quaid's. Why
do you have to work your way back? It's a dream. Like, there is no physics.
I don't know.
You don't stub your toe in a fucking dream unless it's part of the dream.
His spine has to, reassemble.
He's like, but then he's like a little kid. And I'm like, okay, now we're gonna get some like. I was expecting like at least another minute or a minute and a half of like I thought what would happen would be that it's like dad, father, and then it'd be really tense, like because Dennis Quaid has to keep up the facade,
right?
And it gets and then
hug me,
and then David Kelly fucking
Pierce.
McGillicuddy is like, wait a minute, you're not my dad, and then he gets stabbed.
It doesn't matter.
Well, no, it was so sudden. It was just like,
and then he dies in his bed as Christopher Plummer's watching him sleep.
Yeah, that's never good either.
No. Can you imagine waking up and seeing that?
Like Christopher Plummer just staring at you.
Why
are you still alive?
Why are you still awake?
And then I guess the president wakes up. Oh, and then he's all like, "You stay away from me." Like he's all.
Yeah.
Again, like if you want him dead, just kill him.
Yeah.
Like presidents have been murdered. Yeah. It's happened in the past. You don't have to go into his fucking dreams.
Well, the thing is, like, yeah. So the Christopher Plummer tried to have the president murdered, and then they meet again in the hall after everything's resolved, and he said, "Oh, don't do that again." Basically, and then Christopher Plummer still has his job.
Yeah,
I know. I
He's not
expected
doing
at this point he would get all his Secret Service guys like arrest this man.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
Although,
yeah, but then what's he gonna say?
I know.
If
He
you
said the
look,
guy from the Warriors into my brain.
Yeah,
if you look like what just happened in the States on the 6th of January, all the storming of the
yeah.
Bastille and stuff, everyone that participated in that are still at work.
Yeah.
All those people that were like hoping that their colleagues would be murdered,
Yeah, I
they're
know.
also at work.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the same thing. But then, then Dennis Quaid's like, oh, what am I going to do? That guy's going to be after me. And so then, which I found was one of the lamest things in the movie, is when Christopher Plummer's dream is him just walking in a hallway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, you can hear his footsteps. He's walking in a hallway saying hi to people.
Yeah.
And then the elevator opens. That's his dream.
Yeah, but you think, but it's just to throw because
I
you
know,
think
I know.
for a split second there, like,
I know,
oh
but-
yeah, Dennis Quaid's just gonna like confront him somehow with some dirt.
but you could have done something more interesting than just walking down the hall.
Of course.
Yeah.
Like you could have had like Christopher Plummer hang out with his wife, having a beautiful breakfast in the
Having
morning.
sex.
You
And then
could
turns
have
into
him.
Dennis Quaid.
Oh
You could
yeah.
have,
And
like,
then Dennis Quaid's got a big barbed penis that rips
Yeah,
through his
Christopher
torso.
Plummer.
you could have like Christopher Plummer taking a shower and then like Kevin Spacey pulls the curtain.
That'd be great. That'd be the one time that one of your hideous scenarios is appropriate. And
Christopher Plummer goes in the elevator, and Dennis Quaid for some reason looks really tall, and then he rips his head open, and there's like another like snake guy
Yeah.
or whatever. I don't even know what that was. It was like a little bulbous snake guy. It's like, this is all you have in this
Yeah.
movie is snake guys.
my turn.
All the budget went to that.
You guys yak for a couple of
And
minutes.
so he kills off Christopher
Christopher
Plummer.
Plummer, heart attack in his dream.
Yeah, which was actually a pretty good scene the next morning when his wife tries to wake him up and he's laying there
And he's laying there.
with
Yeah.
his eyes wide open. Nobody's
Eyes
seen
wide
him with his eyes wide open. Like if he would die, wouldn't his eyes be closed? He was just sleeping. He's dreaming. You know?
If it were a Kubrick movie, eyes wide shut.
Yeah, there was no eyes wide anything in that movie. It's
True.
just there was the movie with eyes.
It wasn't. It was just a title thrown on there. That
Well, I think it's
cryptic title
based, I
to
think it's based on a
intrigue you.
book or something.
It is, but it's not the title of the book.
Really?
It's not.
So that's
I forget the name of the book, but I think it's got the name Phil in the title. I could be wrong,
right.
but it's definitely
It's
not
not,
Eyes
it's not,
Wide
called, it's not
Shut.
called Sex and More Sex.
No.
No.
So-
So, anyways, yeah. So at the end of the film, Keith Scrimshaw and Dennis Quaid are going off
Anybody need a
train.
beer?
on another train.
Me.
I'm okay at the moment. We're gonna wrap this up soon.
You want a red stripe, Greg?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good on this.
So
but so at the end of the movie,
Thanks, bud.
Kate Scrimshaw and Dennis Quaid are getting on yet another train
yes.
to go gamble in St. Louis.
But before we move on to that,
Uh-huh.
because I heard you guys talking about Christopher Plummer having his heart attack and his sleep and all that, right? So where did Dennis Quaid do this? Like, did he break into Dennis Quaid's house and like sleep on his couch?
You mean?
Yeah, you think they're supposed to
Or
be
is that- or
like,
Christopher
close
Plummer's
by?
like,
Well, remember earlier he jumped into a dream.
I mean, Dennis Quaid's house. I mean,
Yeah,
Christopher
but
So
he
you
Plummer.
can kind of
was-
do it remote. Well, true.
Well, okay, the thing. Okay,
Because
so
even in the climax of the movie, everyone had to be in a room that was adjacent.
That's
to the
true.
so now he can just murder people. Like, this is a happy ending. That he's like, oh, whatever I want to, I can just go into
Zoning
someone's
is
dream
skills.
wherever they are on planet Earth. No one can escape my
You
dream
can have sex with
powers.
them or murder them.
I can rape Christopher Plummer and then reach
murder
into
him.
his chest and rip out his fucking still beating heart, or
Yeah,
turn
he
into a
is.
snake man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Which apparently everybody's afraid of in this movie.
this is, and then at the end, they in real life, sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of keep it open ended in an Inception kind of way. Like,
No, it wasn't a dream.
well, the dude, the train guy was the same guy.
That
from the
one
train.
Which yeah.
They
which
they
is-
probably
It's
shouldn't
going to
have
do
done.
is it
No, I
foreshadow
don't
or-
think they should have done either because it doesn't make any sense.
But
And I
they-
didn't
but they-
remember him right away. It was like once it. I guess he was in the dream earlier.
Well, because they lingered on just that extra second or two.
Yeah.
long.
But they
It could have
okay.
been a
So
snake man.
so apparently now
Snake man, where'd you take it?
when you save the president and kill the Secretary of State in his dreams, that Kate Capshaw is now like totally consensual. Let's have actual sex. I forgive you for the dream rape and all
Yeah.
that. And they're getting on an Amtrak train, and
You sure it was Amtrak?
or whatever. It's 80s movies are full of trains.
Maybe it was a Silver Street.
It might have been, or the Midnight Run train.
Did you see the Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor on that train.
Train to Busan.
That would have been cool.
That would have been amazing if this was all a prequel to Silver Street.
which came out like 8 years earlier.
Or Snow
But
Bears.
yeah, or Strangers on a Train. Anyway,
or Runaway Train.
but they get down to boning. Like the train hasn't even.
Oh, they're just like eating each other's face.
It's like
They like making out. I think they like making out.
They don't even put their bag down. They're just like, let's bone right now on the platform.
Wouldn't you?
Everyone,
They're both
don't even
incredibly
close
good
the
looking.
curtains. They're just like anyone can see.
Trains not even moving. They're still in the station.
Like
So a whole bunch of school children outside looking in the window.
Daddy's coming home from the war, and then they look up. Is that Dennis Quaid's hairy butt?
I know
Anyway,
his butt's smooth as a baby's butt.
and then the ticket guy is the same guy from the train. But you never know. Kate Capshaw could have maybe once taken a train that guy was on, and then
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
it doesn't. Whatever logic.
It's a cute little ending.
Yeah, but the thing is that what you want from a thriller about like a?
Well, I think the reason this movie for me worked as well as it did is because of the comedy elements of it. Because it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like everybody's acting what they should be doing, but nobody's like winking at the camera or anything like that.
They should have had the ticket guy at the end, like end with that, but then cut back to the ticket guy and like a snake tongue comes out of his mouth. That would have been a much cooler.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Or he peels off the
This
skin.
this movie has many problems. So let's move to the let's move to the end of the podcast here.
Yes.
Final thoughts. My final thought is this: the problems I had with this movie when I was a kid are similar to the problems I have now. When I was a kid, I thought it was too boring. It was like I wish there was more dream stuff, and at 45, I still wish there was more dream stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't like any of the political intrigue. Could not give a shit. There's too much tacked on. I mean, I would recommend this movie, but not a strong recommendation. It's like, yeah, it's an interesting concept.
So you're not going to put someone in a headlock and make them watch it.
Watch fucking Dreamscape. Yeah. So it's a fine movie. It's perfectly fine. I think it's a little more interesting than most science fiction thrillers from the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. It would not get like a wholehearted endorsement from me. But if you want to see a movie about dreams, this is definitely one.
Yes, it is definitely one.
It could have been worse, but it also could have been a lot better.
Yeah.
What do you think, Alex?
I smiled from start to finish. It's a completely
You must look insane.
goofy, silly, lightweight fantasy movie from the 80s. I don't recommend it. I recommend it, but not on the level like some great film or anything. It's just goofy 80s fun. That's really it.
Yeah.
But I smiled from start to finish.
I wish it had been more fun, though.
Yeah, it could have been more fun. It was just a pleasant. I hadn't seen it before. It's silly and dated enough, and even the stuff that didn't work, I just kind of chuckled at.
So there's no like, does it hold up because you never saw it before?
Well, I've never seen it before, but I think it. I mean, I don't think I even had to have seen it before to say whether or not it necessarily holds up. I mean, it's just a goofy, silly movie. I mean, obviously, I'll never know how I would have felt if I'd seen it.
Well, I'm working on a time machine.
Yeah,
So when it's
so,
complete,
yeah.
I want you to go back in time and watch the
I hope
movie.
so.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I smiled from start to finish. I was entertained. The movie's ridiculous and it breaks its own rules, etc. But it made me smile.
It's the kind of thing you might see on like late night television back in the day, and at 2 a.m, it's schlock.
It reminds me of something that would have been on like CFCF 12. I lived in Montreal for years, and their CTV affiliate there is CFCF 12, and they used to show goofy late night 80s movies like Gleaming the Cube and stuff. I could have seen it on there.
So, we should do that one too. We don't have.
We don't have it.
Let's not talk about that.
Mr. Darren, what is your take on that you're reviewing?
Yeah, the first half of this movie, I was so into it. I was really enjoying it, and then once all the political stuff got involved, it kind of became boring.
Yeah,
which was really weird because usually I kind of like that stuff. But because I was kind of weirdly obsessed with this movie back in the 80s, I liked it a lot more back then, of course. I still really enjoyed it. Again, needed more dream stuff and more creative dream stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to like in it. It's got a good sense of humor to it. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but everyone's trying. It's got a great cast. That's a garbage truck.
Oh, I know. I'm wondering if it's affecting.
It doesn't matter. Like we can't do anything about it.
It's not severe.
But yeah, I recommend it. Yeah, it's fun. You could do a lot worse watching a movie of this from the '80s. Like, and it tries. It's got a lot of good ideas. I think it's good. Yeah.
So then,
I would say yeah, it holds up.
So then I have a question for you, Darren.
Yes.
Because we're back to 2 for $1 Mondays here at Black Dog.
That's true. We did start 2 for $1 Mondays again.
Those of you listening, if you like getting something for free, but not entirely for free,
who doesn't?
Come on down. And if you rent a movie here at Black Dog Video on Mondays, you get a second movie of your choice.
No charge.
No charge at all. So, Darren, someone brings our fantastic brand new Blu-ray.
Yeah, so actually,
copy of Dreamscape.
I'm going to say the Blu-ray looks great, and it's got a great sound in it.
Yeah.
Like the soundtrack just boomed. It was. I don't even know.
Even though the score is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
It's
I'm not sure we even have it on DVD, but we have a great Blu-ray of it.
So I don't have it on DVD.
So someone brings Dreamscape up to you on a Monday. You say, "Hey, you can get a second movie for free." What movie would you recommend to pair with Dreamscape?
I thought about this movie, the Dream movies and stuff. I thought about it. We did Brainstorm. Was that called?
Brainstorm.
We did.
Yeah, I thought about that one quite a bit.
Because it's around the same time. Deals with dreams. Again, it was an interesting film. Didn't quite meet its potential what it should have done, but I wouldn't recommend that one. I was going to go with Ken Russell's Altered States.
Good choice.
That's a fun movie.
Yeah, I've been wanting to watch that one again forever. Josie just watched it again and said it was great to watch again.
Me too, because I haven't seen it since like VHS era.
It deals with, it's not the same subject matter. It's just altered, like it's like astral projection and just turning into a monkey and eating animals because you slept in a sleep deprivation tank.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but I would recommend that one. And I think it's a little more serious, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And it deals with bigger issues.
But it's also quite. Like it definitely has a schlock element to it.
It has a schlock element. It's one of the more accessible Ken Russell films. He's not my favorite director. I like a couple of his films, and that's one of them. And I would recommend that one. And I think it'd be an interesting double bill. So watch Dreamscape first, then Altered States.
So Darren's pick, Altered States, directed by Ken Russell. How about you, Alex? What would you pair up with Dreamscape?
I have two suggestions.
Actually,
three.
Only three?
Three. Okay, I'll listen to it. If you wanted another Dennis Quaid,
not 4 for $1 Monday.
If you wanted another some might be rented. If you wanted another Dennis Quaid, Inner Space.
Yeah.
But the other two.
We'll say that again. You just did it really quickly.
Yeah, another Dennis Quaid, Inner Space.
If you wanted another Dennis Quaid film, if we were going on it for the Dennis Quaid pairing, I would say Inner Space.
Inner Space, directed by Joe Dante.
Correct, co-starring Martin Short.
A lot of fun.
Then the other one, but the other two I'd definitely go with this. If it was Dream, I would say the definitive film, if you haven't seen it, which is Nightmare on Elm Street. Mm-hmm. For me, the definitive Dream film. Or the other would be, I know I'm naming a lot here, but for 80s political intrigue, boy genius, all stuff, War Games.
Oh, War Games.
War Games would be a fun pairing.
We almost did that as a podcast.
That would be a fun pairing.
You know what? Both Inner Space and War Games, I think, would make great podcasts in the future.
We should do. I love War Games. I saw it so many times when it came out. I loved it.
I even had the ColecoVision game. There was a game. Really? Because all it did was recreate the game they play in the movie. Like
play a game.
Whatever it is, they play like that weird missile.
It's like Defenders.
Would you like to play a game?
Missile Command.
It did say that at the beginning. It typed it out.
And you there over there, Dylan? What's your pairing?
Well,
do you have like 11 movie suggestions? Like
no, I mean, there's actually Brainstorm did pop to mind, but I remember we actually recorded a podcast about Brainstorm, and I don't think any of us liked it, and I never got around to editing the damn thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I mean,
it's in the vault for.
It's in the vault. We have a lot in the.
We
got like 36 episodes up right now, but we actually recorded like 100.
Yeah. Well, I wish you hadn't lost that.
And then I was thinking, not a Nightmare on Elm Street, but a Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3, Dream Warriors is a movie where I'm like they really ran with the fun of dreams.
It's insane, yeah.
But ultimately, the movie that I settled on is there's a lot of red. I'll say this.
Is it Reds?
The name Quaid comes up, but it's a character name, not an actor name.
Oh, is it maybe?
Is it I bet you it's Total Recall.
It is Total Recall.
No, you had to be Quaid.
What?
That's a famous line from Total Recall.
Okay.
At the end, the guy who's in Deliverance, Ronnie Cox, is like, I liked you. He's saying it to the Arnie guy. And he goes, and then you took on this alter ego, Quaid. He goes, I liked you. You were supposed to come back, but no, you had to be Quaid. It's one of the funniest, poorly delivered lines ever.
That's funny that you said Ronnie Cox in Deliverance. Where he's like,
yeah,
you could pick RoboCop. You could pick
well, come on.
Or yeah, RoboCop or Total Recall.
Yeah.
I picked Total Recall because similarly, it kind of plays with. It didn't occur to me until the ending of Dreamscape, where they're kind of like going, "But is this a dream?" And I was like, "Oh, this reminds me of the end of Dreamscape where he's holding the woman. It's like he's like, oh my god, I just had a horrible feeling. What if this is a dream?" And she's like, "Then kiss me quick before you wake up."
Was he kissing?
I forgot about Total Recall.
Like Liberace.
Total Recall is brilliant.
Yeah.
What's that guy like? Rip Taylor? Is that who's?
Yeah, it's just whatever. That's how she talks in my head. No, it's the guy who did. It's the guy who was the middle square on the Hollywood Square.
Paul Lynde.
Yeah, Paul Lynde. Kiss me quick before you wake up. Because it's like this. Total Recall also deals with like the subconscious.
Total Recall is so much fun.
I love that movie.
I just watched it again about 6 months ago.
I haven't seen it
and the whole time
years,
you're kind of. In fact, I wish Dreamscape had done more like moments where you didn't know if it was a dream or not. Like I think that would have been really interesting. What would have been really amazing would be if the kid turned out to be like this evil mastermind who was fucking with all the grown-ups or something like that. And
in Dreamscape?
In Dreamscape.
Buddy Driscoll? Is that a name that... Dude, when I heard that name, that's
like
sounded like...
Well, it reminds me of Eddie Driscoll. He's referenced in Stephen King's novels. He was a Bangor, Maine television personality.
Okay. Right, yeah.
And he's cited a lot by name in Stephen King novels.
I thought Buddy
Eddie
Driscoll
Driscoll.
was the creep friend on Leave It to Beaver.
That's
Eddie
Haskell. Okay. Anyway, I feel like Total Recall kind of covers the same territory but does it better.
But it's not completely about dreams either. Like this is specifically about
sort of dreams, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's about perception.
Yeah.
You know, and if we don't have Total Recall, I think Scanner Darkly would also be an interesting.
Scanner Darkly is amazing.
And that brings us to the end of the Black Dog Video After Dark podcast.
After Dog.
This is good. We have a new red carpet and everything,
yeah.
and we're live streaming for one
person that's watching us.
Is either masturbating or asleep or dead.
They're probably asleep.
Should we call the cops?
Yeah, let's just call the cops anyways.
You guys may have noticed, none of you mentioned my amazing haircut.
Oh, we talked about it in the bar earlier.
Oh,
let's talk about it again.
I got this amazing haircut.
Where'd you get that amazing haircut?
At a place called Jefferson's Barbershop. You may have heard of it because we talk about it every single podcast.
Yes.
They are located at 5th and Commercial, and they're wonderful. They're great. And of course, in these COVID times, help out a small business. These guys
make an appointment, get your haircut.
They give good head.
They're awesome.
Yeah. And
Jeff, Scott, and I don't know the people that work there, but they're all great.
They have an amazing poster around town, and it shows the staff, and each staff member's photographed mugshot style. It's hilarious.
Have you seen their? Have you know their? They have on their website. I think they have a video that they did where they recreate the scene from the Warriors, where it's like, "Come out to play."
Really?
Yeah, and they got. Oh, you gotta check it out. It's so funny. Anyway,
Goldblum in it?
No, but he also wasn't in the Warriors. So head on down to Jefferson's Barbershop if you want to get your haircut.
And then come and run a movie at Black Dog
and then
Video
come
to
run
celebrate
a movie.
that haircut.
Here we are located at 1470 Commercial Drive in sunny East Vancouver.
When it's daytime.
2 for $1 Mondays. We
have all kinds of deals. We got great
deals.
films. We got so many things that you can't find on your stupid streaming services.
Yeah.
Come down and support local business. We, we're part of the community. We employ people that live in the community.
Yeah.
And we've been here for a long time, and let's keep us going.
And we'll still be here as long as you come in and give us some money. So without further ado, Darren Gay, I say good night to you.
I say good night to you too, sir. Good night.
Good night to you both. And special shout out to Greg.
Greg,
I want to thank him on camera because he let me speaking to this bitch and vintage looking mic.
Yeah.
I've always loved mics like this, and I've never gotten to use one. So there you go.
You should
Thank
be
you.
singing like a
Thank
torch
you,
song.
Greg. Take a bow. Take a bow from behind
Take
your
a bow,
desk.
Greg.
You
Yeah.
are the
You look
Greg,
like
Vintage,
Greg,
vintage
take a
mic.
bow.
I was so pumped to see this mic.
You look like Vera Lynn. You should be singing like something in there.
I was thinking actually like more like Paul Young. Every time you go away, you take a piece of me with you.
Yeah, but he's just it wasn't of his era. This is of that era.
Yeah.
He's just
You-
doing it just for
you know who you remind me of, Alex?
Who?
The Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company
Company
C.
B.
Is it
Company
B?
B.
C.
I think it's C.
Is it C?
I can see.
You know what happened to
Doesn't
the?
matter.
We don't talk about what happened to the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy of Company B.
No, we don't.
He was gassed in the trenches.
Yeah, and then feasted on by
He
drugs.
died with his bugle.
Oh, yeah,
It's
It's terrible.
Anyway, and on that dark note, good night, everybody. Everybody take care of everybody, and
Be safe.
be safe.
Good night. Thanks.
Bye.
That
It
a lot
was
of fun.
Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy
I
Company.
didn't want to get into the dark subject matter, Mike, but you know what Jeff Goldblum's first role is?
Yeah,
yeah, Death Wish.
He's a rapist
Wish.
in Death Wish, yeah.
Hey,
The
hey,
first Death
hello,
Wish is
streamers.
excellent, by the way.
I don't know if you're still there. Anybody streaming? Thank you for watching, Adam Abrams. We'll get it right next time, I promise. With apologies to anybody who went to the first link that I set up earlier. But you know, we deal in DVDs. We don't really know this computer thing so well. But thank you all for joining us tonight. We'll be doing another podcast in 2 weeks' time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Stay tuned, and a bunch of other television-related catchphrases that anybody under 30 will not understand. Bye-bye. All right.